Never mind, that'll be easy.
That's all that's funny. I got on. I go, I wonder if he's awake or asleep, or is he? So I just was chilling, watching, drinking coffee. Yeah.
No, yeah, I'd been up for a few minutes, but I didn't want to. I mean, it seemed like they were having a good conversation, and so I just kind of stayed quiet, let him have it.
Well, that's your show. I've been wanting to come on, but when it's good, I don't bug show. Like I won't come on and disrupt a good conversation on anybody's show. I'd rather get in the chat and just,
right.
You know, especially if I don't got nothing to add or whatever. But
yeah, I definitely respect that. I feel that too. But I recognize that I have sort of a. Oof, whatever you did with that, we gotta.
That's what I'm asking.
But I. Oh yeah, you're on. You went change back to whatever device you were using. Android has a bad echo. But yeah, I'm self-aware enough to recognize that I have a disruptive personality.
Right. Right. I could feel that definitely.
Okay.
For sure. Because you have to be that way. Some people have to be that way.
Me too.
Yeah. Some people have to be aggressive and in life. And not everybody, but some people. That's how it works. You know what I mean? We need you to put thoughts out there that other people just sit back and go, yep, that's it. It's like one big system of us all learning and stuff all together. Like,
yeah, but even when you're not being, strong energy, you can still be disruptive. Some people just have that personality. I know Flow State's definitely got that. I've seen that. He can even be calm and trigger people.
Oh, I'm always calm when I trigger everybody. That's why the chat doesn't really get me. I start fighting with people in the chat. My I don't know, charmingness or some shit. I don't know. It doesn't come through with it. There's something missing in it. It just sounds like shitty, but it's like, I like to call people out on stuff. And I'm waiting for people to call me out on stuff. I tell people God loves me the most, and I'm waiting for somebody to love me the most. You know what I mean? just I'm always messing with people, especially out in public.
If anybody's watching who waited backstage to join the conversation, I slept through the whole stream. So you are welcome to come back up. I'm here now, and I'll bring you on.
And Joe, I'd like to call you out on your weak audio signal. You could crank that up a little bit because it's hard for me to hear you in my headphones unless I put you on my bigger speaker.
So how's this deal? Because I got this thing going right here, and I could turn it up too. How's that? Is that better?
It is a little better.
Yeah. I think that is better. I'll turn you up as well, but that does.
Okay,
that's better.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, my wife got me some stuff, a camera with a light and stuff. I can't get that thing to work, but this little speaker seems to work pretty good.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
It seems like sound's the most important on these.
Sound is definitely the most important. If you have bad audio on a video, people will not forgive you for that.
Yeah, it's so windy where I'm at that I just gotta cut it all out. It's like there's no way to even comment on my videos and stuff.
I bet the issue with mine was the mic on the headphones is interfering with the actual microphone.
And we're going to turn you up as well.
Did you get a good sleep in? Did you get a good nap in, Flo?
I got great sleep. Yeah, I don't know if you heard earlier. I kept setting my alarm, right? So I fell asleep and I kept setting my alarm after that every hour or two so that I could come shut off the
and
stream.
Shut it down.
Yeah, but every time I did, I came over and started listening for a second. I was like, fuck it, they're cooking. I'm going back to sleep. And so now here I am. It's morning time. I haven't been at my own 9-hour stream like at all. And
awesome.
So
I'm on my way home. So hiking back up.
Great job though, Nachiketa. you had us go. You were very entertaining, bro.
Well, good. I'm happy that you're entertained.
I fell asleep too, though.
Yeah, we had good conversations earlier.
Always, yeah.
Sorry, I'm breathing a little bit heavy. I'm hiking back up, but yeah.
I say we don't have small talk in this community, and that's what's the best thing about it, man. We're over small talk.
Right. I think it's really interesting to me how much the topic naturally just goes towards God, you know. Like
Yeah.
I was thinking the last two streams I think I've had have been like basically all about God. And that's maybe I'll try to switch it up, and then I wake up and it's every time I wake up it's back on the thing. So I don't know, I was just wondering, is that who that says stuff about, right? Does that say stuff about everybody, about the human condition? Is that about me and the people that I tend to attract? I don't know.
Because you don't
It's
push
just
it that
interesting
way.
observation.
You're not like pushing it that way either, you know? That's what's interesting.
Actually, if anything, I sort of felt a little bit like I needed to push it away.
Right?
From
I
that.
get the
Yeah.
feeling from you that, yeah. Were you ever a Mormon, or is that, do you talk about that stuff or not really?
I mean, no, I never was, but I think that's you must have heard me talk about my sisters.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, I never was. It just coincided. It just sort of happenstance that all three of my sisters ended up being Mormons, kind of separately.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, I guess.
You're
Yeah.
in Utah?
I didn't know
No,
that.
That is
well, 2 of
interesting.
them- So I was raised with one sister that I knew of. I have a younger sister, and she married into the Mormon church. But when I was like 28 or so, I learned that I have 2 older twin half sisters that I didn't know at all, and they were raised Mormon in Salt Lake City, and I've still only met one of them, actually. But yeah,
That's fascinating. It really is.
Yeah.
Identical twins or fraternal twins?
fraternal.
Okay, it must be a trip.
So if Flo
was a
ever
little
goes missing, then
If what?
then we know if you ever go missing, or
Church.
one of your kids ever goes missing, like some radicalist shit, we know where to start looking.
The
SLC.
Mormons.
The Mormons.
Actually, when my daughter did go missing, and then she resurfaced in Memphis a few days later because her mom had kidnapped her.
Oh.
Is she Mormon?
No, she's not. But when I got the call, like, hey, we have your daughter. God, hold on a second. My alarm's going off.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's kind of messed up.
Yeah. Trippy stuff. These family stories trip
She
me
take
out.
her. Yeah, she take her over state lines. I'm assuming.
Yeah. So after our divorce, I got custody of my daughter, sole custody, sole residential and sole legal.
Wow. That's a
custody.
feat.
All right. Well, I did it twice actually. But her mom this was when she was probably 5. Her mom wanted to, and I made an agreement, right? She could come spend a week with Jordan. She hadn't seen our daughter in like over a year. And so I'd help finance it. She could come where we were living and get a hotel room, and I would fuck off, and they could just have sort of a staycation in town. When that was over, and I texted her, I said, hey, I'm going to come pick her up. Well, they were gone, right? So a few days of police shit and whatever, they eventually found her in Memphis. It was like 8 hours away at her mom's house. And when I got the call, they said, hey, we need to somebody needs to pick her up. She's at the police station, and somebody needs to come get her, or else we're turning her into Child Protective Services. You've got like an hour. And so I was scrambling around trying to figure out who the fuck could watch, who I knew in Memphis that could watch my daughter for the 8 hours it took me to get there. And ultimately I had my grandpa's wife's brother, right? Their family helped out, but my sister's husband had rallied the Mormons in Memphis, and through the Mormon network, he was able to have people on standby. And I see you doing that with your
Whoa.
hand down there. There's zero part of me that believes that they would have not, given her
Oh
back.
yeah, no.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
was very grateful for that. And that actually, at that time, I was pretty not happy with the Mormons, right? I'm not Mormon. They just got married. There's a whole bunch of drama because, the temple doesn't let non-Mormons in. So there's just some drama, right? And I was kind of hostile, but I did appreciate that. That was very clutch to have that opportunity or that offer.
Way to go, Mormon, saving the day for
Right.
once. That's a good story, considering all
You
the ones
must have
we've
been
had
irate.
lately. Yeah.
Me, yeah, it was kind of wild.
I know. I grew up with a bunch in San Jose, California, and it's crazy how mysterious. I mean, people I've known for years and years, and they don't talk about being Mormons, and and it's involved in everything, and yet not talked about too. It's a strange, like our kids played sports together for years and years, and we'd know them and go to their house and stuff, but like they never talk about being Mormon, like ever. It's weird. We got a lot of Pacific Islanders that are Mormons in the Bay Area. Big Samoan Mormons.
That is so
I met some of them in
weird.
Korea, actually, like Korean Mormons, and they have like rules about like keeping certain amount of like food at home in case shit hits the fan.
Right.
They're like well prepared. The Mormons.
They are. Yeah, they've got a website with prepping shit on it. On the Mormon website, if you go into the store, they've got a whole prepping section. And actually, my I hope I don't get her like excommunicated or something. But yeah, my sister has ordered some stuff for me off there. It's pretty dope.
Right. Don't give it to that guy. Yeah, it's interesting because old ways are better as far as these things are set up to like help people. And initially everything is set up for a community that does not involve the government. The more if you go to the Mennonites and the Amish and stuff, the point is you don't go to the grocery store. You don't subscribe to their laws. You have your natural laws. You eat your food, and you're not part of this government system. And people don't recognize that. It's like anything old goes away. Don't listen to grandma's advice. Don't. Then so these things have been perverted. Religion and it's in itself is a perversion of godliness, but there's so much good into it, and the systems in place already, religious systems there. So go with it, flow through it, use it. It's like the government, it's like take advantage of it,
Well, it does become sort of an alternative structure to the government, right? And it's as much as I love to bash governments and religions, like I very much am against all these institutions. I have to be honest and recognize that when left to, this is just how humans organize, right? When you organize into a group, the cost of being part of that group is to sacrifice some of your own personal autonomy and function as part of the group. So, and that's just the way it is.
Totally.
From what I heard, that their initiation to get into the inner circle is very similar to that of a Freemasonry initiation process. Have you guys heard about this or no?
Yeah, I have. And I think that's accurate. But, if you look at if I look at Christianity objectively, we've got a cannibalism right.
What is it?
Cannibalism. The sacrament.
The holy cookie.
Drinking the blood of Jesus. Yeah.
Right, blood too.
And
yeah.
So yeah,
I get that explained to me all the time by people. I'm like, dude, what is up with that? Honestly, like eating. Well, no, you don't get. It's just a wafer, and it's yeah, but it's supposed to be the Corpus Christi,
the body of Christ.
Yeah,
body of Christ.
The dead body. Okay, the Corpus Christi. I'm like, okay, I don't know, man. I could see that could benefit you if it was, if you can get an actual.
No,
piece.
corpus just means body. I mean, we
it's not dead. I
we
thought it was dead
obfuscated
body.
that word. No, in the English language, is a dead body, like a corpse, but like the original Latin, I think it's just a body, as far as I know.
It's not like cuerpo or something like Spanish, like cuerpo or something like that. Like it wouldn't be different. I kind of thought it would be, but I'm kind of a dum-dum. So
Corpus delecti
Latin
means
would be the
dead
original.
body, I think.
Yeah, in Latin it's body, and it doesn't really have any relevance to death. Although if you're speaking about somebody's body explicitly, there's typically a reason.
Right.
Is the delecti and corpus delecti the death part?
I do not know.
I'm assuming.
It would be interesting to learn Latin.
They purposely kept it away from us. Told us it was a dead language and not worth it.
So here's the interesting thing about Latin. I went to a Jesuit high school, and I had no idea the Jesuits were anything besides just some, whatever, just old priests. I didn't know anything about them.
And brothers.
Yeah, but my high school offered Latin as a language, but you had to be invited to take it.
Right.
Oh.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, you needed to be recommended
to be
by
invited.
somebody in staff. It was very interesting. It's very interesting in hindsight.
So you had to be.
What was their criteria they were looking for? Did they make that known?
Well, the impression that I'm left with is that there's a certain grade threshold, but I don't know for sure. It could be an inaccurate memory. It could be accurate. I have no idea. Because I didn't give a fuck at the time.
I bet it's true.
Probably it's probably more of a psychological profile.
Well, they're not gonna. The kids from the basketball team they recruited from down the street, they ain't getting invited. I'm sure. You know what I mean? The real Jesuit, the guys that grew up in the church, because those schools are also they get the most talented kids, not necessarily religious kids. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There's definitely a threshold that you for getting into that school. It was a private school. You had to have money. You had to actually
Do the elders think you're attractive?
Huh?
There you
Threshold
go.
would be: do the elders think you're attractive?
There you
Would
go.
be the criteria.
I don't know
was
that
it.
helps your admission.
Dick.
There's definitely it was the best high school for a lot of sports in the Kansas City area.
Yeah, they all are, man. The Jesuit high schools.
And the entrance, I thought the entrance exam was it was objectively more strenuous to get in this high school than when I got into college.
Yeah. Bellarmine in San Jose is the same thing, and these are where all the pro athletes come out of too. All these high schools, it's very rarely they come out of public schools.
Latin is the official language of the Vatican, by the way. So
I can't find
Like,
free
if you-
Latin.
No. I said I was mistaken. Latin was a course that was offered to anybody. You could take Latin. Anybody could take Latin. Greek is the one that you needed to be recommended for by the Latin professor.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't find a free course on it anymore. Like I used to.
Is interesting because Greek is what the Gospels are all written in.
Is it Greek an upside down language?
That in Aramaic.
I don't think there's
That in
any
Aramaic.
gospel written. Is there a gospel? I don't think any of the Gospels are written in Aramaic.
Not
Oh,
in the New Testament.
No, yeah,
That was the
you're right.
language spoken by Christ.
Which I think is just an interesting phenomenon. However you want to interpret it, that the Gospels that's by a Jew in the Jewish religion in the Jewish region, and everything's written in Greek. I think that there's probably some information or some understanding you could glean from that if one was so inclined.
So much confusion in religion.
Yeah.
You're taking part of the Bible, you're putting it in Somalia. You got stuff like that you're talking about. Just like it's so convoluted, man. Like it's crazy. Like what Aramaic isn't that? That's what do you call it? What Iraq was back in the days?
Yeah, Middle
Persia.
East.
Babylonian, Jerusalem,
Babylonian, right? Isn't it
Talmud.
Aramaic Babylonian language?
Yeah, it's among
Right.
the Jews. Aramaic
Oh.
was used by the common people.
One
while
of.
Hebrew was the language of religion and governments and upper class. So, like in the Old Testament, Daniel and Ezra were written in Aramaic.
Oh. Interesting.
But if
There's a
you
lot
were
of
upper class
correlation between
religious-
Hebrew language and Gaelic.
Oh yeah,
Oh, big time. Big time. Just like you have all the native languages are like Dutch or like they're the translators that came over, like guys from the Netherlands could translate Native American language
Yep.
back in the days.
Yeah.
that's a talent right there.
Yeah, this
Fascinating.
I'm wondering who's actually running this whole shit show. If
about the
it's
sounds,
Irish,
the letters.
is it the Irish or the Scottish?
The Schmottish.
You start thinking about the Scottish Rite Temples and the Knights Templar and all the Illuminati stuff, and that makes you wonder. They're pretty much at the center of a lot of things.
Everything's, to me, is connecting, and all people and different things. Everything seems to just all be connected, man. And the separation of it is the
For sure.
trick. You're different. You went to a different high school. You're a different guy. You're a different this. Everything's fighting when it's the opposite, like normal. You know.
The closer to the top you get, the more of the pyramid you look at. It's all going up higher to closer and closer connections. Who runs this shit show? Flo, you should know. You were a banker.
Well, the
Yeah,
whole
that's
thing is orchestrated at some level, even if it's not supernatural in origin. That seems obvious with the sequences and the, just the fabric of reality, how it unfolds with toroidal energy and all these different observations. The thing I would say is the reason we keep gravitating towards the conversation of God is it's a natural propensity for humans to seek meaning in their experience. And especially when you have the whole world, like fucking direct energy weapons and, the shit you see going on with the shenanigans in the financial system and the economics and war and all this. It's like, okay, so am I just a rat in a cage, or is there something more substantial here that I should be gleaming from this? And so people are constantly trying to frame that up and figure out, how do I articulate this and what's the real meaning behind it?
Despite all my rage.
Still a rat in a cage. Yeah, it helped me a lot when I used to listen to Crow and about giving up your belief system and trying to know a thing. And that's what helped me quit drinking, helped me kind of get my logical mind going from one step to the next. And that's what ends up to God to me, is ultimately everything kind of, is like, well, what about this and what about that? Well, we ain't gonna know. We can only know what's on our realm, what's here, what we can deal with. And, a lot of things is like, I'm cool with it, man. Like, we'll find out later and stuff like that. But it's like, I don't know. Logical conclusion is that it had to be created. That's just where I came from. I'm not mad at any religion or anything. So I kind of have a unique perspective where I'm like, we didn't even talk about this stuff, spirituality, growing up at all.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah.
Too much design component is ingrained into nature and of humanity as well. So, and the way biology works. So if there's a design, there has to be a designer.
That's the thing.
Yeah, the tornado in the junkyard theory.
Yeah, made a Ferrari. Yep.
Kind of tough, right?
That was the Russian mathematician. That dude, Flamenco, if he was a real guy or not, but dude could do some math.
It's unbelievable. But what really baffles me the most is how fragile we are, and yet how fucking intensely powerful we are. I mean, we can put our mind. Look at Dick. Dick's over here building houses. We're incredibly able and capable. Right. It's just a matter of putting.
I break my finger, I can't work.
We have not seen these houses that Dick is building.
But I've seen plenty of other people
Yes, we
build
have.
houses.
Okay. All right, fine.
We have.
Okay.
Look, I was just looking for a toehold in the shit talking. Apparently that one's not it.
No, I mean, Dick, you can obviously see he's a craftsman, okay? And, whether he's whether he's a finished carpenter or not remains to be seen. I'd like to see more of his work. But
He's just a badass motherfucker. That's the bottom line.
Go.
Dick, you get the
Anybody
full
with a name
fucking
like Dick, I
jack,
get it.
whole
You're a badass.
fucking balls
I
deep,
go
man.
around job sites. I go on live sometimes.
He's a hard ass motherfucker.
That's right.
Yeah.
Man's man.
I showed us. I
Good
demonstrated soldering the other day on whose channel was it? Somebody else's channel. I was live during the day. I clicked on real quick. I'm like, hey, check this out. So I showed him I was soldering copper, just for the fun of it. Show people stuff they can do. A lot of people are hurting for cash. In the community, and it's laying around.
Hey, Flow State. Sorry to interrupt, but the comment you just put up, true story. I was supposed to pick up and drive Gary Busey from one place to another. He saw me and turned and fucking booked. Thought I was either John Goodman or related to John Goodman, as if they had a beef or something. Refused for the rest of the week when he was in town to deal with me at all. Couldn't even get near him to take a picture. The guy was fucking spooked.
So that is an interesting story, but it was definitely not worth interrupting.
Well, I just saw
it wasn't going anywhere. I mean, just, I have the comment on stage or on screen. It was.
I hear you, but it was kind of weird.
Little senile. It's getting old.
It happens. It happens. I got a name like Dick. What do you mean? So, it's hard.
You have a name?
We love you, Scott.
Last name is Richard.
Oh, that's right. I remember you saying that. You tried to tell me a much more belabored, long, agonizing story like you just did, but much more painful to listen to.
I have a tendency to be verbose because I really want you to get it.
Yeah. It was
brevity is the soul of wit, Scott. Brevity is the soul of wit.
I'm a writer, so I tend to find writer's license in any and everything I say or do.
It doesn't work the same with speaking. I try to keep it as brief as possible because people's attention span is not long.
Their problems are not my own.
No, it is your problem
Yeah,
though. If you're trying to communicate with them and you want them to understand, then you definitely have incentive to be brief.
If I want them
that's
to
why
understand.
you're so dysfunctional, Scott. You're not seeing the problems that you're facing. You're not dealing with it head on. You're just obfuscating and ignoring the 800-pound.
Am I facing them? Am I causing them, or am I leaving them in the dust?
You're avoiding the conversation right now entirely.
I mean, not so much.
You just justified interrupting people and then going on for a long time because you're a writer and you want to communicate and you want people to understand. And then the next breath you said that it's not, you don't care if they understand and it's not your problem.
Well,
you're just justifying whatever it is you're doing without actually thinking about what you're trying to do at all.
I think writer's license would indicate you don't really care whether they understand perfectly or not. It takes it off the page a little bit and out of the norm.
So you're communicating just for the purpose of
when I write, to be honest, Dick, I'll be honest and tell you that a lot of things are a little ambiguous on purpose so that they've reached more people potentially with their own meaning to be derived.
So
it's
do you
a
want them to
purposeless
understand
endeavor.
or not?
Got it.
I just want, since he doesn't really care if people understand, I turned his mic down to 2 so he can talk to himself. I'll turn you back up, Scott. I'm just proving a point.
That's pretty funny, though. Since it doesn't matter, you can just speak into the abyss.
Your mic's back up, Scott.
I can still look sad, though.
Oh, yeah, you can. You can.
It looks like a sad John Goodman.
He was fucking Roseanne Barr. What do you think? Okay, not really.
Yeah, that is rough. I got to admit.
I've never seen Big Lebowski.
Oh, my God.
That's what everybody says. What?
Yeah, I hear that a lot.
Great movie.
I've never seen any of the movies that everybody's like, you haven't seen that? But Big Lebowski's a good one.
Yeah, I will, though. It's not because I don't want to. I just haven't gone around.
One of my favorite lines in that is as Jeff is fucking getting his ass kicked, he literally looks up and the guy's pissing in the corner and goes, "At least I'm fucking house trained." Or housebroken, I think he said.
You have to
Great
drink
lines
every
all
time
over.
he says a Caucasian. That's the game. Every time Big Lebowski says a Caucasian, then you have to drink.
Did you salute me, Dennis? I don't know who you're talking to, but if that salute was at me, salute back to you. I've kind of, well, of course, I've been ignoring the chat. I've been asleep for basically the whole stream. But salute. And salute to anybody who saluted or said hi or whatever when I was sleeping or throwing. Like I was just throwing logs on the fire a minute ago. So yeah.
What's the temperature where you're at over there, Flo?
It feels like it's probably mid 40s. Hold on, let me look. Maybe low 40s.
Pretty close to me, I bet.
43.
43. I wonder where I'm at. I was in the hot tub last night at 30 degrees. It was kind of fun.
Yeah, look within. I haven't been here all night. Like little Barbie right there has held down the stream. She was the first one to show up and she's still here.
I heard Notch was holding it down earlier too.
Yeah.
Yep.
For a little while.
Well, I mean, the people who, and Dick too, because like I said, I've been asleep. I woke up a few times and came back and checked and added, but most of the people have been here. I haven't been around to add people to the stream.
I was walking the dogs, taking care of some morning ritual stuff and listening to stuff about John Deere tractor and diesel stuff with you, Dick, and another guy that was fascinating. I didn't have the screen on, so I couldn't tell who it was, but it was some pretty cool information. Told me information that I didn't know.
That was Ken, who is AKA
EBT.
Mr. Miyagi.
EBT.
Who's AKA Thomas Aquinas. But yeah, you're probably talking about EBT, who's substantially more intelligent.
It was really intelligent. He was well informed. He was a mechanic, obviously a diesel mechanic, it seemed.
Yeah, he knows everything about diesel engines. It's ridiculous.
He's a John Deere mechanic.
Very cool stuff.
But he does have a ton of knowledge. I'm not gonna say that. He's a very smart person.
Yep.
I sometimes wonder about the company he keeps. Like, you're too smart for toilet bowl. The fuck you doing hanging out with this dude?
I was gonna ask you if you know that dude. Like, what's that dude's name?
Toilet bowl Earth. Yeah.
How do you recommend that? Hey, listen to this dude. He's good, isn't it? What's his name? A toilet. Like,
well, I've never recommended him to anybody, and it's not because of his name.
Yeah.
He's pretty much a Bible thumper, isn't he?
Oh shit! It is 11/11.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
over there under the fridge.
I'm a life path 11. I was born on the 11th, so
nice.
I rock.
So
I rock
my mom.
11. I better buy a lottery ticket or something.
My son's 11/18/92. It's kind of interesting.
Do you remember the movie The End when Burt Reynolds trying to kill himself over and over again? Dom DeLuise.
No.
He went into
his movies I ever saw.
He went into his. It was great. No, not he said first. It's a great movie. If you haven't seen it, Flow State, spend a couple hours watching The End. It's a fucking great movie. But I can't forget this, and I acted it out, redid it in a play for school one time. But the section of the show where Burt Reynolds goes and tries to raid his parents' medicine cabinet to look for a weight off himself, and his father's doing paint by numbers, and he's just over in the corner and he's going 11 all day long. I've just been painting 11.
I forgot about that. That's funny.
It was fucking hilarious. That poor old man, he was just tired of the number 11, and at that point in my life I was probably 11, and the movie was probably rated R, but I love that movie.
Dude, every morning I get ready for work is like the Hooper. Remember Hooper, the very beginning of Hooper?
Yeah.
That movie? Dude, that's me when I get ready for work. Getting gear on, layers.
That's funny.
Wow. So you guys are easily amused then, huh?
Easily.
Simple, Dick.
Easily.
Just put a movie on, and these guys will just zombie thrown out into gelatinous blobs of nothingness, staring at screens.
That
It's
was
a talent.
I haven't seen that movie for, I don't know, as a kid. It was one of the first movies I ever seen. Then
Wasn't Christy McNichol his daughter in that movie?
probably that she was in everything back then. But
I had the
I will
hots
say this
for
one thing,
Christy.
Freedom Grower, there was quality stuff back in the days. They got you programmed on good stuff. You know, they can make good stuff. Always, always, always. You know, like Braveheart or something. That's a great flick, man. There's no way around it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You know
even
what I
the
mean?
weed was better back then. They actually had real skunk terpenes and diesel
Well,
and shit.
it was
good.
bad. Then it got really good. Then it got I remember the first time we saw some real bright green bud. That was probably like 89 or 88
A lot of
or
it came
89.
from the bag seed. It just needed to be grown right. Put it in some
Yeah,
good California, Humboldt,
that's where we
soil
were,
and
right
water.
underneath there growing up.
Mhm.
Yep.
Can do no wrong, but pretty much.
We used to drive up to Oregon.
The movies became homogenized cultivars of propaganda programming, and so did the food, and so did the weed.
But my mush brain is when I'm watching sports. I can't. It's hard to shake, man. It's hard
Well,
for
stop
me.
watching it.
Yeah. Don't put my eyes on it. Simple as that.
Yeah, don't turn it on. Do something else
Sell
with
your
time.
TV.
So I got I live with 5 adults, and I'm a grandfather, and I got both my kids, and I got a
TV in the bathroom.
I would have a revolt, dude, if I threw the TVs away.
I just leave. I got
Yeah,
family
bro.
that watches that shit. We go to their house, they throw on fucking bullshit Fox News or whatever. I might watch it for 5 minutes, but if they're gonna keep doing that, I'm out of there.
That I won't. That was done years ago. News. Once that thing blew up in Palestine, that giant warehouse that was the mushroom cloud that went from it. That was the last thing I've seen on the news. I said, nope, that's it. I told my wife, I go, this is what this is going to say right here. This guy's going to walk around. The mayor of whatever Lebanon. It was in Lebanon. And it was like the mayor was walking around. I paused this video. I told my wife, I go, this guy is going to say that this is the Hiroshima or the Nagasaki of their time. He's going to say that. And I clicked the video. He said that word for word, walking around, just screaming it. Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Here. I said, click. That was the last thing I ever looked at, man.
Such bullshit.
Hey, Nachiketa, it says your device is not connected. I see your name backstage, but your device is not connected is what it says.
About the time you got, excuse me.
Dominic, no, I slept the whole stream. They held it down. And YouTube user, you don't need to work on liking your voice more before you get on stage. Nah, I disagree with that entirely. You need to just not even worry about that. The audience, whether or not we like your voice, is completely, it's our problem. Yeah, nobody likes the sound of their own voice.
We all got used to Mike Tyson.
Yeah, and I mean, think about like Neil Young, right? Like, I love Neil Young's music, but if Neil Young was your homie and he was like, "Hey, listen to this song I just wrote," you'd be like, "Man, you can play guitar, but I don't think that singing is going to be your thing."
Totally. You heard him sound like this. Have a fine time,
right, man?
They supposedly used to play in this little bar up in La Honda, which is right up the hill from where I grew up. Yeah, in this little town. I never went and looked at it, but yeah. Neil Young.
I would have patronized Neil Young and been like, "You're really good," because I wouldn't have had the balls to tell him how terrible he is. And I feel bad when people, are artistic and they suck.
I definitely believe that you would have that response.
I would have told Eric
Clapton. You're doing good.
I would have told Eric Clapton never to sing. I can't stand that dude's voice, or Smokey Robinson either.
No, I would never have been friends with Neil Young because he's just an incredibly obnoxious human being. But I like his music a lot.
Clapton was a fucking great guitarist. He wasn't Clapton with Traffic.
With
I
Traffic.
think he was with.
I think about Cream.
Cream. That's what it was. I don't mind his voice so much. I think some of his songs are really,
I know. I think I'm by myself on that opinion.
Yeah, that's a hard one to. I don't know, you know,
It hits a
especially
nerve. His voice hits a nerve in my head. I'm like, it hits my spine. I'm like, oh, why is that dude singing?
yeah, very talented motherfucker though. Flow State and Dick and anybody who's about the time you guys have seen me rolling around these places, that's when I got off Fox News. Literally for a decade or so, all I've fucking done in the background while I'm doing shit is had Fox News on. I mean, unless I'm into music or something else. So this has been an escape from that total bullshit.
Yeah, I was like that at one point.
The
A lot
community is
longer ago, but I definitely was there.
a lot of ex-conservatives.
Oh my god!
I'm
You just
still
can't believe
fairly
anything.
conservative, I think. Or
Yeah.
I'm so. I mean, the political perspective loops around on itself, right? Like at some point you get so conservative you're an anarchist, and at some point you get so liberal that you're an anarchist.
Agree.
It's toxicity as far as I'm concerned anymore. I mean, just one side or the other, they're just being toxic. And if you're in the middle, your life is not good.
True.
Well, and even the anarchist angle becomes self-defeatist too, because at some point you say, well, there's going to have to be some collective organized efforts for basic societal, standards.
That's why it's super truther wasn't working for a couple of years, man. It's like you got to give a little bit, man. You're already involved. You can't just make a whole new system like I wanted to, but like it ain't like
But
that.
people
Man.
make it so complicated, right? Like the solution's so goddamn simple. I mean, it's so obvious. There's no need for argument. Nobody would even need to, talk about it. It's like, of course, you just need honest money in a very strapped, limited government that can't grow beyond its own means. It has to balance its budget, and if the people can't do that, they're out of office.
They can't come in for personal, private pocket money either.
Yeah, I ignore cops.
You can't bet if you have an honest currency and you have a set fixed taxation rate that's unchangeable.
Yeah, but somebody that has the ability to affect the currency or value of currency, that you can't let them trade in it. I mean, the fucking bullshit that's going on where people have just fleeced this country is remarkable. And it's at every level. I mean, it's ubiquitous at this point.
Are we talking about the welfare state?
Rocky.
Oh, the banks.
Yo, Rocky.
I'd start with banks, mortgage companies, the government itself. The court systems are fucking de facto. They're creating bonds, creating debt.
Scott, I'm gonna if you start talking about shit that I know about and you don't know about, I'm just warning you. Like, it's a friendly warning, right? Like you're gonna.
Do you realize when you went to prison? Okay, there was a bid bond, a surety bond, and a performance bond created.
So you're just gonna dive straight into it. Okay.
Stop! I'll stop it. I'll stop it.
No. You're fine. We can go wherever. I'm just telling you.
Corporations.
You know what you're doing. You're a big kid.
Corporations are the biggest welfare recipients.
Okay, so
Roger.
Scott, tell me about how many bonds were made.
SF 24, 25, and I believe 26, and then there's 274, 275, and 272. I think
those are numbers. I don't understand what you're referring
standard
to.
Standard form. Just look up standard form 25 and 26. You'll see that they're part of the whole process. You have the bid bond, performance bond, and surety bond. I don't want to get into the whole thing. I've studied plenty of it to know exactly how to turn it around. I'm looking into the IRS. It's forms that you have to file on them that they're not filing themselves. Like I think a 3949A. And then you should even ask the courts for the W-9. They all have a W-9 because they have to pay their taxes. Meaning they're not .gov.
So then what do you think? Like,
I think that we're living in an illusion. I think that the fucking Wizard of Oz is the judge sitting up there pretending to be a judge. He's not a fucking judge. He's an administrator of a bankruptcy. I think our nation has, for a long time, been bankrupt.
is a captain
Yeah,
of
I
a
got
ship.
a question though. Could any of that happen without money manipulation?
Well, the only money, and this is, this is where flow state is going to fucking get off on me, and
I'm gonna get off on you for that phrasing.
I mean, this is where flow's going to get a little bit hard on me, Dick. The only money there is the account balance. When you're holding dollars, that's debt, okay? And then when you're holding any instruments, that's the instrument. That's the negotiable instrument. So none of that comes together to be actual money until there's an account balance.
What
I
is
know
money?
the account balance. It's the bank account balance.
What is real money? You said none of it's real money. It's just an account balance. What is real money?
If you look at 12 U.S.C. 411 and 12 U.S.C. 412, 12 U.S.C. 411 tells you the nature and obligation of the Federal Reserve note. 12 U.S.C. 412.
No, that's not what I'm asking you. We know about Federal Reserve notes. What is real money? What would be
the account balance? There is no money except for the account balance.
If the government issues the bond, how do they pay you a return on that bond if there's no manipulation of money? Maybe I'll ask it that way.
There's always manipulation of money, but the return is okay. If you want to, this is what I actually.
So they couldn't even issue a bond then. Did they issue bonds prior to us going off the gold standard? How did they pay the bond? If they didn't have
what they're doing is they're securitizing. They're turning the bond into security, and then they're creating notes that'll be a later date, paid off on a later date. So everything that we're using is really promises to pay. They're notes. If you look at 12 U.S.C. 412, it tells you what the perceived money is. Anything with your signature on it. Even if you're in jail and you write a fucking letter to the judge and you put your signature on a piece of toilet paper, they can fucking securitize it, because are all back.
Is just false.
I think
it's just not true.
Are they called?
How do they pay you, Flo? How do they get the? That's what I don't get. Like, where does the gain come from other than money manipulation?
I mean, the money manipulation is definitely a game. Inflation. I mean, the inflation is just theft, right? So yeah, having the central bank system is a game. It just doesn't work the way that Scott's explaining it to work, or trying to explain it.
It's about confidence, is it not? Like as long as people are
game for sure.
Yeah, but it's a con game. But it's also
look at
Notch. Go ahead. No, not Scott. Notch. Go ahead.
No, real quick. It's to me, it's a matter of confidence. Like, people are still confident that it will buy them things. They can sell things in whatever. Money is a very loosely defined thing. So as long as that confidence is there, but I understand where you're coming from, Scott, is that there's this arbitrary, like, central banking. They can just kind of print as much as you want, and that is not like real. We, as like people, human beings on the ground level, we have no control over that. But yet we still rely on money to, buy and sell type of deal, right? So it's real on the ground level, right? But it's not real on that another level when they can just print as much as they want, and then you get inflation, and then eventually hyperinflation, et cetera, right?
Money has two features as far as the definition of money. It's a medium of exchange, and it's a store of value. What we have with the dollar is that it's a medium of exchange.
Yes.
Money used to be controlled by how fast you can get gold and silver out of the ground. It was tangible wealth. And now you can just print it. But it used to be how much did it cost you to get gold and silver out of the ground? It created industry. Now it's just their security. They're saying that you owe the money notes that is basically debt money. It's debt money, and we've incurred the debt because we have a social security number. So you got to stop using their numbers to identify yourself. And
I mean, you have to. That's not really reasonable. It's not really practical, though. Like, you need social security numbers.
It's not practical. So you got to learn to live in the world, but try not to be a part of this bullshit. I mean, you got to know
You're in the world, not of it.
You
The
got to know
best-
who you are before you know anything. Who the fuck are you?
Correct.
And I don't know that anybody has the answer to that entirely.
Flow State, let me ask you a question. You said you worked in the banks, right? And you had mortgage notes, correct?
Right.
And you know Federal Reserve notes are promises to pay because they're notes too, just like a mortgage note. So how does
But you're not. But you need to hold on. Don't just dance past that, because they're not necessarily promising. Who's promising what to pay, right? So every dollar is borrowed into existence. So yes, the federal government does owe the Federal Reserve debt on that.
12 U.S.C. 411 clearly states it's the nature and obligation of the Federal Reserve note, and it's not even supposed to be touched by us. It's for the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve banks and their agents.
When I go and look at these things that people like you and Wizard reference, these codes, without exception,
Law
they're always taken out of
bring
context.
it up. No, bring it up and read it yourself, please.
Scott, you read it first, right? Before, and then if you think you understand the context, Scott, shut the fuck up and let me finish. Shut the fuck up. If you read it again and you think that you have the proper context, tell me and I'll bring it up. But if I bring it up and I find that instantly you're interpreting it out of context, I'm going to kick you off the fucking panel. So do your due diligence one more time and just make sure that you're not reading it out of context.
I'm reciting it from memory right now, Flo.
Okay.
I'm reciting it from memory.
Scott, you don't want to do that. What am I looking up here?
12 U.S.C. 411, 12 U.S.C. 412, which became, I want you to look up something after that, which refers to all this. But look at 12 U.S.C. 411, the nature and obligation of the Federal Reserve note, and what you're supposed to be doing with it. Nothing.
I'll tell you
But
what.
my point simply being that if the Treasury bond is based off a set fixed rate that they pay based off of nothing else other than they're just the government and they pay you more because they say so. So they're essentially guaranteeing inflation all while doing something that could never take place without high levels of market manipulation and money manipulation. So, I mean, the solution seems so simple that there wouldn't be any dialectic of political agendas, right, left, whatever. It's just like nobody would want money manipulation. You would want to sound weights and measures to have a decent society.
It's who controls the money supply. Who controls the money supply?
The Federal Reserve Bank, a private bank.
Yeah, it's supposed to be under. It's supposed to be under the Treasury.
Supposed to be.
So the Treasury buys notes and incurs interest from a private bank. Why?
Right, if you look
why do we need a middleman?
If you look at 12 U.S.C. 412, it tells you that our notes, our checks, our drafts, our money orders are all traded for Federal Reserve notes. And that's where the problem is, because when the bank, as Flo states, a banker, goes and borrows the money from the Federal Reserve for us, they're not paying it back. So they're in essence leaving a capital gains tax that they owe because they're never paying it back. But then they get a note. So they're double dipping on this fucking accounts. And with fractional reserve banking, it's 10 times the fucking amount reality in the tax implication.
Hey,
there is no
Scott,
fractional reserve banking at this point. That's been done away with, from what I understand.
I forgot what I was actually what was that question that I was actually looking up here. What was I trying to answer about this?
12 U.S.C. 411 just states the Federal Reserve note is not supposed to be traded between us at store level. It's between the Federal Reserve bankers and their agents, and they're set forth for no other purposes. It says that very clear right there.
Okay, Scott, you should look.
But our courts are run by
member banks, Federal Reserve banks for all taxes, customs, and other public duties.
Our courts
it doesn't say it shouldn't be used for anything else, Scott.
It says as set forth herein for no other purposes. That in that line says for no other purposes.
Issued to the board.
Our courts
right
are
there.
run by international contract, maritime law. You're under the
Making
law.
advances. Hold on, sorry. We gotta pick this part. Making it so
Gangster.
the board issues it to the Federal Reserve banks through agents. The Federal
That's set forth
Reserve,
here.
the Federal Reserve agents, as here and set forth, and for no other purpose. Are they referring to the agents? Are authorized?
Well,
The
Flo,
notes
it's
are
also the
obligations.
last word. Public dues covers what you're talking about because they pay it
But
out
look,
also for public dues, not just banks.
No other purpose cannot be for the Federal Reserve notes, right? Because in the next sentence it says that they're used by member banks, by reserve banks for taxes, customs, and other public duties. So obviously, no other purposes isn't referring to.
If you go to 12 USC 412, you'll see what they're paying the taxes on: the notes, the drafts, the bills, the acceptances, the bills of exchange, they're money orders.
Scott, here's how I know that you don't know what you're talking about, because you list things like the notes, the bills, all that shit like they're the same
Acceptances.
thing. They're
They're
not.
not. They're all negotiable instruments. So in a sense, they're all negotiable instruments. But are they the same thing? No, they all operate differently. A contract and a trust seem to be the same thing, but a trust is a contract between you and yourself, and a contract is between you and another party. So I do know a little bit
A
about what I'm
trust is
talking.
not a contract between me and myself.
Who else signs it between you and you and you?
A trust is an obligation, right? The trust department, a trust company, will manage my affairs. It's my estate, and
You're
for
going
payment,
into running the trust. What is the trust, though? The simple piece of paper. What is that? It's not a contract between you and someone else. It's between you and yourself. You're directing what you want to have happen with your fucking estate. Nobody else
Yeah,
is.
it's not between you and yourself because I don't execute my own will.
Your will executes itself upon your death. Someone
Really,
brings
the
it
paper
forth.
does that.
Well, somebody brings it forth. You're one of your decedents or beneficiaries will bring
Scott,
it forth.
You definitely failed the due diligence requirement that I gave you. As far as I should be kicking you out right now because you didn't look back at it, right?
Would you say this thing is the point of this is to make money fluid? They could do what they want with it. It sounds like it's an obligation, so they can use it as they see fit. Money, the government. That's what it sounds like.
They definitely use it to enslave us, right? Like foundationally, since the first dollar has to be borrowed into existence at interest, it can never be we can never repay the debt on dollars, right? So it's definitely a pyramid scheme.
That's mathematically impossible.
Right.
Yeah, they're
it
paying
just
you
doesn't
interest
work the way
on
that
a
God
debt
insisted
base.
to. Go ahead.
I mean, think about that. They're paying you interest on a debt-based currency. So they're acting as if they have the authority to negotiate this instrument that assures inflation.
I'm not
It's
sure
like
I'm
the most
following what you're saying.
unconstitutional thing ever imaginable. They're stealing from you. It assures they're going to steal from you.
Yes, it does.
On every end of it.
Yes.
So what is your point, Scott? That's what I'm curious about. Like, what's the point of all this?
That we've fallen to the end of this. They're going to a crypto or a central bank digital currency, but somehow or another, I think we need to avoid that more than we need to avoid this paper onslaught. It needs to go back to something that's. It needs to go back to something that's fucking.
So how will we do that?
There's the BRICS nations trying to go back to gold and silver and precious metals, and we had rainbow currency that looked like we were going to do that. I don't know what the answer is or what they've got planned, but if they don't figure it out quick, we are running up against a wall. And it seems like the powers that be, and we have to realize that is, when we say they, that's us, because we're the ones that have kind of put some of these people in place and accepted it, if not put them in place. They're just taking the life out of this country, one fucking citizen at a time, I guess.
That's what they're trying to do. That's been their plan. Yeah, I mean, like, everything is being done quite deliberately. If they're fucking up the country and the economy, they're doing it deliberately. They know how to make the economy better if they really want it, but they want people to get fucked up. Why? people will be in desperate situation. Then people will look for the government to support them. So they would have complete control over people. They got them by the balls even more so than now.
My biggest fear is that this shit is coming at us like a freight train and everybody's eyes are wide shut.
Yeah,
Well, let it hit. I mean, let me rephrase that. If it hits, right, disaster forces reset.
I don't think it'll be as bad.
What the dollar does is, in my opinion, is it's just a wealth extraction tool. It just siphons off the value or the wealth from the country.
For who?
And well, for the owners of the dollar.
There you go.
And,
yeah, I remember the first time I heard that usury thing, you know, like, and it goes back to religion, like, you know, Muslims can't do over 3% or something like that, you know, and like the first time I heard that idea of you know, usury and that being like a sin to use people, like I was like, that changed my idea about money, like big time. Like I never thought of it the same after.
Peonage. The sad state we're in where the banks, I mean, this isn't different, Flow State, than when Christ went into the temples and turned over the fucking tables. The money changers are no different today. The banks are the same thing. That's who he went. Christ died because he went up against the church and the banks. That's why.
Well, and the problem with usury is it's a moving target, so it's got no, you know, specific, definitive example of what it is. So, you know, if you looked at what we're in now, the forefathers supposedly of this nation would have said we're in a usury state currently.
yes, we're the cash flow source and the collateral, ultimately.
But the people running the show would say that's an incorrect definition. So it's insane.
Well, they want to create a two-tier system ultimately, you know, like the people who are outside of that system, and they want us to yoke into the system where we are, like, again, biometrically like intertwined with the matrix, where the social credit system, you know, like the UBI, the universal basic income, and the crypto aspect of it all, right? Which is centralized, not decentralized crypto. We're talking about centralized crypto with blockchain and everything. So every dollar, you know, in the digital dollar that you spend, they know exactly where it goes. You can't go out in the streets and buy street drugs or do whatever. Every transaction is, they're going to know about that transaction. That's the whole idea of a blockchain system.
What are they going to do with? What are they going to do with the drug addicts and the drug dealers? Are we going to turn Hunger Games into this whole fucking mess?
Well, we'll put them in. Well, either they'll die off, or they're going to have to buy into the pharmaceutical industry. But they still have to, you know, be provided for somehow.
I disagree. I think they're never going to wrangle everybody into the system entirely. There's always going to be outliers. I don't even think that they themselves, whoever they is, want everybody wrangled in the system, right? It's your own prison. People are always there's always gonna be an alternative, like laundry detergent, right? There, people using fucking laundry detergent right now in some parts of the world. Fuck, I forgot where I was gonna land at.
But there will be an alternative. I don't necessarily think they won't be able to wrangle, you know, the masses in, but yet that will create the black market or what. And I would say whatever they are using to do those transactions, you probably want to carry it. You probably want to own it. It's probably the best investment.
I personally, and this is sort of silly, but all my nickels and all my old pennies I keep. I throw them in water bottles. I got water bottles full of change like that, because it's even if the dollar's worth nothing, right? It's still a commodity. It's still fucking copper.
But like,
yeah, I understand that.
You can live without money.
Or Dash Coin or XR, you know, whatever it is, becomes the kind of standard for that stuff as they force you into some federal approved currency. Then you know,
so that's.
Go ahead.
That's what it'll be.
Go ahead.
I think we need to recognize that all these changes, it's not them forcing us. It's us requesting them through our actions, basically. We don't want the end result, but guess what? We all swipe cards only. How many people, I mean, here maybe some people use cash, but broadly, we the people have decided we want card convenience. We want instant transactions. We want centralized control is what that you need for that.
Flow
Definitely.
state. Oh, sorry. Go.
Of all the things to change, like we need to change so much stuff, but the one that seems actually impossible would be this monetary system, as far as to go back to a real, way before that monetary system. I think that's actually everything else will happen other than that. But I mean, I remember my dad telling me, and my dad loved his money, man. And paper dollar bills, man, that was like the most important thing. And that love, man, that's like, gosh, it's the importance placed on on that cash money is insane, man. It's people see it and their heart starts beating, man, and like you ain't never gonna change that. It's crazy, you know what I mean? It's crazy.
It's the easiest solution too. It's the most obvious. It's unilateral. It could cross over any political divisions. Everyone could get on board with the idea that, hey, let's not have money manipulation. Let's have a basic standard that's honest, transparent, weights and measures. So
the problem is that
it just shows you we're a controlled matrix at every level.
Yeah.
Barter. I got some bullets. You got some beans.
No, barter's fucking stupid, man. Barter is fucking stupid. Did not have a medium.
It works when all else fails. It works when all else fails. But
well, sure, it's a fallback. It's like everything has gone to shit. It's not, but it's not. I hear a lot of people. It's not just you. I hear a lot of people saying we should go back to barter. Really? So you need some shoes, but all you've got to offer is eggs, and the shoe guy owns chickens. What the fuck are you going to do with it? Barter is retarded. If you propose barter as an alternative to money, you're retarded. Full stop.
Retarded barter. They need to go back to the gold and silver system, the currency backed by something of sustenance, because when it's backed by nothing but a promise, your promise is only as good as far as I can see you.
I agree with that. Barter is not an alternative. Gold and silver is money in and of itself. People say
it's not that hard to make shoes, man. Jeez.
You could use of course crypto though, that's unmanipulatable, that's decentralized. I mean, as long as it's transparent, it can be manipulated. It works just fine.
Start a cottage business. Cottage business.
I got the most valuable thing there is.
Do Americans even know how to make shoes anymore? Americans don't know how to do shit no more.
I've never made a pair of shoes. I have no idea how to make shoes. No.
There's not many cobblers around anymore.
No, but it's not as easy as one may think. I mean, it's not just like piece of leather. There's a lot of big process that's involved. But let me just be real quick about this, okay? Like we understand that money is.
You get your skins. You barter with the guy who.
Hey, let Notch go, then Rocky.
I'll be real quick because, I'll be real quick because we understand that money is like the central thing. Like we've heard the Rockefeller said before that like they don't care about policies as long as they control like the economy of a nation, right? Then they can do whatever policy that you want. What I believe that they want to create is this centralized, digitized system, right? Where it's going to be like blockchain, and when they create this system, you're going to be locked in. You may not be, but the people who are going to be a part of that, but they're not going to get there by just offering that. They're going to make it very convenient for people. They're going to say, well, you don't need to carry a wallet around. You don't have to get mugged out in the streets. Your biometric data is the thing that's going to unlock, the money from this thing, whatever they want to use to convince people that this is a system that they want. But once we have that system where they have control of it all this other system that we talk about as far as dollar, gold, silver, diamonds, crypto is going to fall by the wayside because it's not going to be transferable to their system. They're not going to give a fuck about these kind of things. That's what I mean. I'll land it there.
Why would you think gold is Can I ask why you would think that would not be of concern to them when those are the commodities that we know today?
Who owns most of the gold and silver already right now?
Money
China.
Money can be anything valuable. Money anything anybody agrees on is money can be money. I'm going to make bullets money.
The men with
And
small hats have
okay,
it.
and then we need some leather. So
Doesn't
But
have all
Hooker's
the
gonna make her
attributes of money
coochie.
though, because bullets expire.
but
Bullets
the
are
reason they use silver and
not
gold
pure.
is because
Let
it's
Dick go.
small and it's valuable because you can make jewelry out of it. And so they made money gold and silver because it was valuable and it was small and so but you can make anything money. You can make salt money. Like everybody agrees that salt is money, and because we all need salt, and we'll have these, that's shit. That's the old, money. But now we're in the digital age, and they got all this
But
fucking
it's like
credit.
people don't even know what they're
All that-
talking about. It's like bullets,
Dick's
bullets are
next.
black powder. Black powder.
Dick is
you know what I
next.
mean? It's like I don't know.
Anyway, that's
Dick talk.
never mind.
I don't even know what to say. I lost my point. But it doesn't have the attributes of money, but I mean it's fine, whatever. It's like if you want to use tulips and go tulip mania, have at it, see how that works out. There's time-tested, true, proven strategies for how to have balanced weights and measures that have worked perfectly fine until we had some kind of emergency, supposedly, that we had to take ourselves off that standard. And apparently we're still in that emergency state. So go figure, your government never solves a problem. They just create more.
Yeah, commodities,
Dick,
like oil.
Speaking of tulips, hookers have been making their tulips and their punani currency for millennia.
I stayed away from the joke, the plant your tulips joke.
It was an easy one. But the truth is that has been a currency since before currency. So
It's not currency; it's commodity.
Depends on
And
how they're
salt is
trading
a
it.
commodity too. That's
Depends
why
on who's trading it.
What?
Depends on who's trading it.
Use your
The reason that gold is such a good money is because it is a luxury. It's not a necessity. Salt is a little bit more of a necessity.
We wouldn't be communicating without gold right now the way we are. Period.
Right. Like I said, it's a necessity. Your laptop is not a necessity. Or it's not. It's a luxury. And it only takes a tiny bit of gold to make this possible. And you could use an alternative material as well. Not as well.
It's effective, no. But there is, I think there is some necessity to gold. I'm trying to, I don't know. Something tells me I can't agree with you just saying it's a luxury.
Predominantly used as like a backup reserve. I mean, some of it is used for industrial use. Silver is more utilized for industrial use than gold. That is more useful for like medicine, right, and stuff like that, electronics and such. But with the advent of graphene, graphene is a lot more conductible than gold and silver, so their use becomes less and less over time. So like why gold and silver was used as money for a long time is that it doesn't erode, it doesn't oxidate, it doesn't disappear. And then it's easier to divide gold than say diamonds, right? Because you can't take 1 carat diamond and then turn it into 1/10 of a 1 carat diamond. You could, but the value would go way down because of that,
diamond
right?
Scarcity is a
It's a total a fabricated thing. I agree with you, but I'm just giving an example that it's not good money. And to Rocky's point that we can make anything money. It's true that we have basically made anything money in the past, like rocks, seashells,
Well, we made
salt.
paper
That's
money.
where we get the word. Yeah, and we get paper money, but it's always
Right.
going to be dependent. It's always going to be dependent on people's confidence. So you have to have people agree to it, and then you're going to have some like really bad people who's going to try to copy and try to print money and stuff like that. So like gold and silver is not really something that you can just print. You have to go and find it, and it has its own value because of that. So money is a very complex thing.
Nachi, is graphene some of the strongest shit there is now?
Besides God's love?
Well, I mean, my understanding is like, it's almost two-dimensional, paper thin, but when you stack it that way, it's as strong as Kevlar. I mean, I'm not
It
sure.
has thousands of uses nowadays. Like it can store electricity. It can conduct electricity much better. It has a very high conductive rate, much better than
But
gold
it's
and silver
strong
even.
as shit, isn't it?
It is also very strong because of the hexagonal layers that it's like that. It's kind of like the beehive type of structure. So it's quite strong, yes. But I don't know if it's the strongest. I mean, like the diamond is a carbon, right? It's six-sided, that is pressurized, that is like the strongest thing, like known to man, one of the strongest.
I like Lou's economic perspective. I don't like Lou's perspective on many things, but I
He's
think
spot
that
on.
when it comes to economics, I think that Lou's got a good grasp on it. Somebody's macaroni and cheese needs to be put in. The water's boiling. I forgot what I was gonna say.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I mean, the same concept goes with Bitcoins as well, because you also need to use a lot of electricity and computing power to be able to quote unquote mine
No,
a Bitcoin.
No, it's not the same though, because a Bitcoin is tangible is not tangible, right? It's just a number shown on a screen. It's easier to steal. It's easier to fake. It's only the same concept. You can't make it the same.
You can't fake Bitcoins. You can make copies of Bitcoins, but it's not a Bitcoin.
People tell me that, and I don't believe it. I'll admit I don't know enough about how the intricacies of how blockchain works, but they also said it's private. They can't steal it. But if you look at all the ransoms that have been paid in Bitcoin, dude, like all of those are recovered.
Did you guys hear about? Excuse me. Did you hear about how the Clintons faked a bunch of fucking gold and sold it? Used, from what I understand and reading that, from out of Greenbrier up in Canada, they fucking literally sold it all over the world too. Moved gold all over the place. They once drilled into it was fucking tungsten.
Yeah, it's true. They have a gold layer around them, and the tungsten have a very similar, mass to gold. So only way to know about it is to drill into them, and they did obviously, and found out that it's actually, mostly tungsten.
There's some crazy stories behind that too. I won't derail anymore, but that I just find hard to believe that we lost a lot of gold because they fleeced it, like selling it, but then took the real gold and did whatever they wanted with it.
Yeah, so like the gold that we had at the reserve, or what was that, the Fort Knox. I mean, there's no gold there. That place has not been audited, and all this gold that we got from all over the world, like prior, like just at the end of World War II. What was the agreement? It was a hotel in New Hampshire where they all got together and they made an agreement. I forgot the name of it, but that agreement where everybody got together and they basically said, okay, the United States dollar is the Federal Reserve, or the not the Federal Reserve, but it's the world's currency. Basically, they all agreed to it. It was back in 1944 when they did that.
The petrodollar.
Jekyll Island,
No,
Jekyll Island was in 1912.
Yeah, Jekyll Island was the Federal Reserve. That's when they strategized the Aldrich Act and the Federal Reserve Act, which was basically the same thing under different names.
I just want coffee beans to be currency. That's all I care about.
The fucking assholes that started the Federal Reserve were the same people that had been booted out of it all, that had the Bankers Trust just 3 decades earlier. But people were none the wiser. And actually, some of the main people that would have objected to the Federal Reserve and were objecting to it altogether were aboard the Titanic.
Baby Truther is here.
What can you do with the truth?
Hey, I think that Titanic, I'm not sure about that whole thing.
It's actually not the original Titanic. You guys know about the Titanic and the Olympia conspiracy? It was the Bretton Woods Agreement. The Bretton Woods Agreement, that was the name of it. But the whole story is that actually the Olympia got into an accident with Her Majesty's ship and had to pay a bunch of money, like insurance and all that. So it was very similar size ship. So they changed the Olympia to the Titanic and turned the Titanic into Olympia, and they sank the Olympia in actuality. But they also
for
bought
the insurance money.
Yeah, for insurance money and everything, but also they wanted a couple of the rich guys who were against. So it was like multifaceted conspiracy. It wasn't just one conspiracy to just get rid of.
J.P. Morgan
people
was
who were
supposed
against.
to be aboard and happened to just get off, or not even get off, but go and take a massage instead. Like
Yeah.
literally, some famous people were supposed to be on that missed it. Little chink in his neck. There was some. That's. I'd love to know exactly what happened with that bullshit, but yeah, it was definitely corruption.
And another thing is that I don't think any icebergs were hit in actuality. I think there was actually an explosion that has occurred there. They created like an explosion. So the iceberg thing is kind of like the story, another narrative that they wanted to tell everybody as like so. So it makes it seem like it's just an accident rather than it wasn't, because it was
Well,
just
the whole
if it was
story
just an
about
explosion.
the binoculars were literally hidden and stored in a locked cabinet for traveling at night above normal speed, trying to make New York within a record time. Are you kidding me?
I mean, it's like you're talking about things that may or may not have even happened at all. Could be totally made up of a whole cloth. You know what I
There's
mean?
some logs about some of that stuff where they had, with the binoculars or something, some documentary I watched about that where that was proven that
They got
they
logged.
didn't have. No, that there was
written by man.
I can't remember exactly how it shook down.
But it might be. I don't know. I'm just saying, keep it in mind always that you could be totally made out of whole cloth and more like an idea,
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's like the band. What song was the band playing as they continued to play? There's accounts. The reason why, you say logs or anything. There were accounts. There were firsthand accounts because several people did survive.
And you talked to
several. They wrote stories.
Gotcha.
So in a roundabout way, they talked to me. I just listened. But
bro, you're the talkingest motherfucker on this panel. What do you mean you just listen?
Well, how do you talk to a book? Well, maybe I did a couple times.
I have no doubt you talk to everything or nothing.
Everything?
Do you talk to yourself when you're home alone? Do you talk?
No. Well, to the dogs, yeah, absolutely. I talk to the dogs.
I 100% don't believe, because if I'm home alone and you walked past my house, unless I'm on here, you would not hear anybody talking. I never talk to myself. I don't talk to animals.
You might hear some cussing and shit like that. If I drop something, you might hear me blame it on a spirit. Oh, fucking thanks.
I think that you talk. I'm speculating here, but of course, I totally believe what I say when I say that you are talking to yourself.
No,
you talk
never
to yourself.
do that. Nope.
You don't ever talk to yourself?
I write songs, so I mean, I do recite a lot of things if I am in that mode of, writing something. But so in my head, yeah, I would say that reflection and talking to myself in my head is something I've become, naturally accustomed to, especially when I get in that mode of creativity. But
interesting about that song that you mentioned of the Titanic. It's the name of that song is called "Near My God to Thee." That's the name of that song.
And then there's other people that said it was something else, but that's
it's "Nearer My God to Thee." Yeah, the one that they were playing when it went down, when the ship went down.
Right.
That's
right.
Yeah, that's the one. That one.
Flow State, you don't talk to dogs?
I don't have dogs. I'm going to show my psychopathy here a little bit. Dogs are kind of annoying. I don't want to have to give it attention constantly. I want to walk in the house. I want to sit down. I want to take off my shoes. I don't want to pay an attention tax at the door. I don't want your hair all over my fucking toothbrush.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It does.
I have a Maltese, so I don't have to worry about that. She does not shed.
And Ray, yeah, this is sort of a marathon stream for M. It is for sure. I've slept for basically the whole stream. I'm just kind of getting up and around and back to it. This is basically M's stream.
I just kept it
But
going.
maybe
No,
you have
actually, no,
some
I
like
kept it going.
genetics in you, flow state, that it's part of your culture heritage to eat dogs, because in some cultures, Filipinos and whatnot, like there's specific dogs that are considered delicatessen. So you may want to try eating one.
Hey, what did you say you had, M? You have a Maltese or something?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, does that Maltese look
It's my
tasty?
little baby.
Do you have teriyaki sauce?
I will straight cut you. No hesitation. Bro.
All right.
Straight up. That's my baby.
Because I'm interested to see who they think would win in a knife fight.
Always with the
I
knife.
grew up in a heavily Vietnamese popular area in San Jose. I heard a lot of stories.
Cats and dogs weren't a fucking frequent passing, were they?
My buddy went to school and he came home and his uncle cooked his dog and he said he cried, but then he ate it and it was yummy.
That's fucked up.
That's what he told me.
This far, I'm not going to
It
sleep
was
right
nice
now.
knowing you.
I mean, we
Gotta
had
be
this
better than
conversation
Impossible
before
Burger. That's all I can say.
about eating dogs and cats and all kinds of animals. I mean, like if you're going to eat one kind of animal, you might as well be okay with eating another type of animal. It's just about resources. I mean, like obviously dogs and cats require more resources to, maintain them than compared to a cow or animals that just eat,
Nachi,
grass.
where do we draw the line?
Notch. We're not
What's that?
cannibals here. We can't just eat anything fleshly.
Right. We
They
just
eat a
go
lot
right
of
on the
rats and
human.
stuff. Big old rats and stuff in Asia. Like they say they cook them real good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that's you can
it-
keep the rat casserole recipe. I'll probably pass on that one. Thanks.
I don't eat any carcasses. That's you guys.
where's Lubass when you need him?
I don't eat meat either, but it's whatever.
I eat cheese and
Where do you
stuff.
get your protein?
Yeah. Where do you get protein?
Beans, lentils.
No idea.
Oh
It's just
God, all
there.
those lectins and oxalates. That must be terrible.
I get it from God.
It's like eating
God
sand.
didn't
Wasn't
want us to
always
eat
getting in my
animals, why would
eye.
he make them out of meat?
What's that, Flo?
If God didn't want us to eat animals, why would he have made them out of meat? You gotta ask yourself.
One thing I
Yeah.
don't care about is what people eat. I've been dealing with this for so long. It's like it's a boring subject to me.
But it's interesting for me. It's a philosophical line. Like, where do you draw the line? Like if we as humans ever created like a factory farming where we say, okay, some people really enjoy eating other human beings, but like we won't give them any cognitive function, but we will grow the body for them, and then would that be okay now? Like, because like they won't be able to feel anything. Like, and then like, are we like providing a service at this point? Like, what's going on? Like,
Can you
where's the
grow like a
line?
giant Trump that I could eat? Like
I thought there was that one
Like,
fast food
just a
chain that
legal
already
person.
did that.
Heather Locklear?
Well, China's doing some crazy stuff over there because like you know what they're doing with people. They're actually harvesting their organs live in China. A lot of these people who were placed in these concentration camps, they're like
The
Falun
Uyghurs.
Gong practitioners.
The Uyghurs.
The what?
The Uyghurs.
The Uyghurs.
The Muslim
We-
Chinese. Yeah, I'm starting to think that's all BS, man. I don't know. I think the crazy stuff's going on here.
Yeah, well, it's
I-
probably here, but it's more underground. Over there, it's like
They're like, look
anything
at China,
goes,
look at
probably.
it. It's so Chinese. And you're like, really? I don't know, man. It's like people are people, man.
Whatever that means. Yeah.
Their medical system is way better. They can cure people of sickness. They're allowed to.
Did anybody see the bodies exhibit?
Mm.
Yes, actually, I have. It was actually done by this Austrian guy, and he flies over and brings the bodies exhibit where they're like skinned, and then you can see all their muscles and stuff.
Fascinating as fuck. I saw it, and I saw it actually on a couple of occasions. But they dissected. The only way you could see it is go to a movie called Cell with Jennifer Lopez, where they dissect a fucking horse like this, and you might even find that on YouTube. But a human, where just every millimeter, it may have been, half a millimeter, half a centimeter, just a cut, and then the whole human with glass, like on giant, what do you call them, the little slides, giant slides in between glass. It was, and it wasn't. It was, to see the organs, to see every just dissected point of it was bizarre. But the story behind the bodies is that they were prisoners and stuff, and that they were put to death. So I don't know the true story behind it, but I believe they stopped the tour because of the story coming out. So, but it was right at the museum in, Tampa that I saw it. It was incredible.
How incredible!
I heard some reports that some of those bodies were not donated. Like there were some of those bodies were like straight out murdered. I don't know how true that is, but just like I just read some reports about it. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. But it's just weird.
Yeah, that just made the masses guilty of a crime, I guess. Witnessing, not reporting.
But yeah, I genuinely think you draw the line at your own species. I mean, after that, anything that moves, if you're hungry, is fair game. And I mean, to me, that's a lot more natural than the perversions of anything that come out of a Bill Gates factory or Impossible Meat or, all the shit that they're saying now. They got fucking lab-made meats and they don't even have to label it at your local convenience store. So all that shit would be the atrocity to me, not eating an animal in nature.
How many of you have eaten McDonald's? Because I think if any of you, including myself, who ate at McDonald's, we probably consumed some amount of human DNA.
This is why
yeah, I've heard that.
I don't
not
eat
in at least 15
meat
years.
From McDonald's.
Rabbi,
But
whatever.
then I heard
the
they
hell
put
his name was.
formaldehyde in the fries.
It's just the food just explodes from the ground constantly. That's all.
The only thing I've had from McDonald's in the last 15 years is an orange, and I would not doubt if they put human DNA in that as well.
Are we watching the Walking Dead over here? Is that Rick?
Carl. This is
Carl.
This is Sophie.
Why do we love our zombies so much? And a nihilistic view of just being able to do what you want,
Because we can relate. Because we can relate to them.
Smash some guy that was a person, and then
I think it's a possibility. I think it's a possibility that could be in store for us. Like so many zombie movies programming us. Zombie apocalypse.
Bro,
zombie apocalypse.
It is
World War
us.
Z.
It is us. Look at the mask thing.
Yeah, we're already there.
It seems like kind of like, I don't know, masturbation or something. I don't know why. It just seems like zombies. It seems like it's just something like it ain't going nowhere. Like it just, I don't know.
Genre.
Like you shouldn't do it, but you kind of want to. But like you dessert. But me,
No, masturbation is fine. That was all programming propaganda. It's like religious bullshit to make you condemn yourself for a natural action. And then they gave you porn to pervert the whole thing too. Which
right.
Is,
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's very similar. It's like the other side of it's the Janus coin of evilness or whatever. I don't know.
I actually kind of agree with that. I mean, I see your point. You make a solid point. And I like zombie movies a lot, but like every time, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's like that. This is such trash entertainment.
It is. It's easy. It's easy.
Yeah, but bullets come in handy, during a zombie apocalypse.
Surely,
for sure.
What if it's fucking vampires though?
Don't forget the double tap. Don't forget the double tap. Or shoot him in the head.
Make sure you have silver bullets.
I did a short where TML, the machine lies, double tapped Paul. It's fucking hilarious. Because he's such a chill person. His delivery is so like you almost miss it.
Who is it?
The machine lies. Is
that Paul?
No. The machine lies is here. I'll just play it instead of try to explain it because it's way faster just to watch than it is to explain. Let me find it real quick.
Machine
Yeah, and I
Lies is a
think if
guy
you're
from
in a zombie
Pakistan.
apocalypse, it's fine to augment your weapon at that point to do 3-round bursts or more. You know.
I think so. I
gotta
would
get
choose a
little-
concrete saw though as my primary weapon. It just feels like a more legit zombie weapon.
Rip that thing open, man. I love that. Give me a chop saw, bro. You hit the trigger, it turns a little sideways on you.
Yeah, but
I
then
love
you need to get fuel, and then you have to maintain that shit. I would just go with like a katana. You know,
Keep
katana
your
would be good.
pragmatism out of my fantasies.
Right.
See, this is the problem of you press.
gotta think about it in a
meat eaters.
realistic
Like, I
way.
noticed
Come
it
on,
with
man.
you guys. Like there's a part of you that can't wait for destruction and breakdown of society, so you can go out and
No,
name
that's
and
not
kill
true.
Flo
everything.
does not get to
It
be
is
on the
true.
It is
post-apocalyptic
true. I've seen that in all the
team. He would
non-meat
get us
eaters. They're all
killed.
like, "Man, I can't wait to eat a slave or eat Lubass or eat something." Like,
What is it? What do I want to do? I want to eat it.
you wanted to
like-
take your chop saw and go out and like just cut things up randomly, and
It'd be a great weapon.
would find joy
I'm just
in that.
preparing myself for that possibility. That's all. I'm not, I don't want it.
He's locked and loaded. He's ready.
That's
Everybody
ready.
wants that on some level, right? There's that part of
Well, Violet
everybody.
has programs.
Beans, bullets and beans, bullets and beans.
Violet
Let's
is
And-
like
see.
instead of like,
Get ready.
Well, I
Yeah,
guess
the
I
whole-
don't. I guess I
Get
don't
ready.
own this knife just
Get
for
ready to
whittling.
go
You
live
know.
in the bush. Get ready to go live in
That's
the bush.
a knife.
How's
That's
your
a
bush
knife.
skill?
Yeah.
that's a useless hunk of shit. You're gonna stick
Hard
that
to
in
get
something
it
that you ain't gonna get it out. You're gonna use it once, it's gonna break.
Well, it has one good use. I could lop a limb pretty easy with this thing. I mean, I
Right.
don't
Well,
think
it'll get
that would
stuck.
be
It'll get
too
stuck
difficult
there.
with
And you won't be able to pull it
this
out.
deal.
And then the zombie will get you. That's the reality of violence.
How's the
Violence is-
zombie going to get me? You don't know
violence-
how trained I am. I could have a Kubaton that I can use like
Violence,
not use as
violence is
nunchucks.
not good. People, think it's on a movie.
Anyway,
But the
don't mind me.
reality-
I'm just going to clean my teeth here.
There you go.
I mean,
Nunchucks would be a
lots of
horrible
uses.
weapon for zombies.
violence is good to
That's
know how
nice.
to do.
Yes.
So
Yes. It's a necessity.
is that you? I just saw you point to yourself. Is that you?
Yeah, no, I was
wait, we
pointing
have-
down
Oh, at
at that other knife. At the other
Oh, yeah.
knife.
And Rocky's knife.
we have
That's
a
a
poll.
knife.
I forgot all about the poll. Oh, I changed
There is
that
a
tab.
poll?
Okay. Hold on. I'll get to the poll after.
No, I don't want to eat Lubass. Other people want to eat you. I'm a meat eater, dude. I don't eat people. I draw the line. We already discussed this. I draw the line at my species. I'll eat everything else.
What? We eat a giraffe.
I need some fresh pussy, Brian O'Shea.
Anybody who
That's in limited
calls a
supply.
live call-in show, a broadcast, it's kind of like calling a telethon,
Elusive.
a fucking Broadway musical. It's
Hey, are
not
you
really.
taking shots at me subliminally?
No. I didn't mean like anybody who actually says the word. I'm just saying that, the awareness factor. Self-awareness.
Double tap, back of the head.
Anybody who calls a
So yeah, I like the delivery. I don't know. He's so chill, right? Like even I had to go like, wait a second.
The way he just
But yeah, the
low-key
guy
was
who
like,
was talking-
like
with the sunglasses,
self-awareness.
That's the machine lies.
That was a
Machine lies.
that was a slight non-flight right there.
Yeah, and
That was hilarious.
if you're interested in him, go. But he's on a lot of my streams. So if you just jump back to one of my older streams, he's linked in the description box.
That was funny.
Oh, and Rocky, if you have I don't know if you have a channel. If you do, link it back in the back chat. At every stream, after every stream, I put the links to the people who came up on panel in the description box. So
I need to refurbish my channel. It's a lot of work.
all right, yeah. And if you don't leave one, I won't link one. So it's however. But I just want to throw that out there. And if anybody's watching who's been on a panel in the past, like I have forgotten to include you in one because I don't always get them all. Let me know and leave a comment in the video, probably not in the live chat here, but in the video, and a comment after so I can find it and I'll fix that.
That is cool of you to do that.
Bruh.
No.
If that's for me, I'm
Whole
not
ass
home.
etiquette. How
Somebody got
rude.
background noise going on. Like, do you guys hear that?
Yeah, it's me. It's my TV.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, that's probably. I'm assuming that's probably what you're hearing.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Notch, when did you stop eating meat, and then you're vegetarian now, so you eat eggs and cheese?
I don't eat eggs. I was so I ate meat growing up with my family, and then when I was in high school, I didn't eat meat until I throughout college, basically. So I was a vegetarian most of high school, all of university, and then when I went back to Korea, it took me about a year to kind of adjust to Korean diet. It was like almost an impossible. It was impossible to be a vegetarian. Like initially, I was like, okay, I'll eat some fish, you know, and stuff like this, and then everything had fish in it anyway. So I was just like, all right, fuck it, I'll just eat fish, and slowly I transitioned to like eating meat because I was invited to people's homes and they were giving me beef and I felt like I didn't want to offend them. So I was like eating a little bit. And then later on, like about a year later, I was like full on eating meat. I was just like, I don't give a fuck. So I ate meat for about 10 years until I left Korea. And then once I finished my travels from Mongolia and Tibet and China, and then once I went back to Nepal back in 2014, I became a vegetarian again. So I've been a vegetarian, but back then I was consuming eggs, but now I don't consume eggs. But that's more of a Vedic like monk diet that I'm on now with like not eating eggs, but I eat cheese, not a lot.
And you
but
don't
every
eat
once in
any
a while.
fish now, huh?
No fish, no fish.
Man.
No eggs.
Where are you
Yeah.
from, bud?
What's that?
Where are you from?
I'm South Korean American, but I live in India.
Oh yeah.
But so you're
Oh,
telling
cool.
me if we were in the tropics and I just caught some fresh ahi right out of the ocean and started grilling that up on the
I'm
barbecue,
on my way, Dick.
that wouldn't entice you?
Probably not. I
Right.
mean, like depends on like what. I mean, I will eat meat if I have to. Like if I'd rather like not starve if that's
Yeah.
possible. I mean, I'm not stupid, Dick.
Some
But
good
if I
fish
can avoid
tacos,
eating
though,
meat,
made right on the beach. Man, you got
man, I was
discipline,
in
dude.
Goa.
That's impressive. No, but that's discipline but you're saying it wouldn't even taste good to you, like it's not enticing to you. That's not at all appealing.
Oh no. I mean, I think I can understand the appeal. I used to eat a lot of meat, and I used to eat. I love food. I tried food from all over the place, you know. But you know, I have a certain practice that I'm kind of going towards, you know, and then like not eating meat is just part of that, and you know, not fapping off is another part of that, you know, not watching porn is another part of that, so not drinking, not smoking,
Oh,
those
so
kind of
like
things is another
no
part of
fap,
that. But
period.
you know,
You can't even
no fap.
fap with like a quick shower or
It's not that
something.
I cannot. I am very capable of fapping if I wanted. It's not that I'm incapable.
Of fapping.
Yeah. He doesn't
Yeah.
masturbate at all, ever.
But wait,
Zero at the end.
what if it's somebody else's?
No,
hand?
not. I mean, like for years. It's been a couple of years. It's been like that. So
Do you have increased wet dreams as a result?
Oh.
Like, is it?
And then I want to go
Probably
to M. I
not.
see that she's
Are
kind
you
of
worried
trying to
about
get
your
in on
prostate
this.
at all?
No, you weren't leaning forward to say something.
No, no. I'm good on that. I don't need to know. I mean, I understand that it is a part of some people's spiritual growth process to do that, to abstain from all of that. And then some people just do it on different levels, but that's to each their own.
Well, Brielle says you're fappable. Notch.
Compliment.
I think that's a compliment.
Who cares?
How did it go from food to porn and masturbation? Like,
Because it's discipline, not
so
just a disciplined
fast.
man. He's
Because
he's convicted in his discernment of what he needs to do that's right and true, and it's I find that impressive when
It's
people
like I need to not
create
eat,
boundaries
but I
for
need to not
themselves and do it.
masturbate.
This is
Some days
the
I don't
nature
even
of
eat
my
at
morning.
all. I just
Oh my
I
god.
mean, like it's whatever. Like it's. I don't think it's like a big deal or whatever because like people to each their own, and if they want to eat meat, I don't look down on you for that. Whatever. Like if you want to smoke, you can smoke. It's just that I want to go in a direction where I have that kind of discipline in my life. Like it's just something like I wouldn't have been able to do it. I don't think if I wasn't like alone in the mountains where I actually practiced meditation for weeks on end, and then I actually met some yogis who were like teaching me like you got to do this kind of breathing exercise. You got to move your chakra.
Yeah.
Dude, I think it's a big
You're
deal, Mott.
lustful and
Seriously,
stuff like
man.
this. You got to move that.
I mean, it's a big deal, dude. I've masturbated twice during this broadcast. The fact that you haven't done it for 2 years,
which I can
I've
only
done it 4
imagine what
times.
last night was like. I mean, when I woke up this morning again, it was just you and Em on the stream. I can only imagine with that much one-on-one time and
that was the first time. Oh well, never mind. Apologize.
Second, third.
Oh
Yeah.
wow. Yeah.
No, it's cool. We all masturbate on stream sometimes. Just as long as it's off screen, right? Like you don't even have to turn your camera off. Just,
Yeah.
If I see that shoulder shaking, I know what's going on. Thank you, Chuck, for the 10 memberships. We all appreciate it. Chuck made it rain. And good morning, Chuck. I assume that you slept last night, as did I. But yet the show carries on.
Yeah, because I didn't masturbate, so I just sat here and had it down. So there's that.
Which is disturbing, strange, uncomfortable, weird all at once. I don't know what to say.
If you want to, though, you go ahead.
Yeah, better than the rest
I
of
just
these
thought
guys.
it would be super rude to do it like while you were asleep. I was like, that's just not fair.
No, it would be rude not
I'm
to at this point. Go ahead.
Don't worry. Let Jesus take the wheel.
Don't worry. You guys will wait, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's interesting though as far
I
as
don't
like
know
being
how I
able to.
get into these.
You seek out weird people.
What would it take to get you to masturbate, Notch? How much would we have to pay you? Like, would you masturbate for $1,000?
How can we confirm?
Why would you even like suggest that? Why would you want me to? That's so
It's a
weird.
power dynamic. I just want to know, like,
I'm good.
how influential, how impressionable are you? How dedicated to you are you to this cause? Would money change your view?
Release the demons.
I don't
You're capable
think
of
so.
so much if you do
I
it
mean, like,
properly.
look.
You do it.
Is there any particular unicorn woman that would
I mean,
change
it's
your
kind
view?
of a weird conversation.
But yeah, I think it's an important conversation.
Unicorn
to be
woman.
had.
I don't know. I mean,
It started with zombies. and
yeah.
masturbate.
I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
like,
I'm sorry.
yeah, we can go back to zombies, and then and that's fine with me. It's whatever. Like, we don't have to talk about
Yeah,
this
we'll circle back.
conversation.
You know what's interesting though, honestly, you say you would talk to yogis and guys that talk, breathing and those type of things. Whereas like I had learned from listening to Crow about like when the sun, like in July or August or something, when the sun is at the height of its power, that's when changes should be made. You know what I mean? And that's I knew I had to quit drinking at that time, and I'd waited for the sun to get a little bit up more, and then I did it too. And and it really helped, like stuff like that, like knowing what's going on around you, and like it's not just like the cold turkey thing is, that's step 10 is just quit. Step 1 is something else. Like it's I don't even know how to explain it, but yeah.
Yeah, like for me, it's not about like I don't believe that guilt is a very good like a way to convince people that they should stop doing whatever that they're doing. Like, everybody is already fucking up in some capacity, but it's not for me to tell you that you're fucking up. You know what I mean? Like you have to come to recognition of yourself and understand that this is a kind of a detriment to your life or a positive aspect of your life. That's it. Like, all the thoughts that we have, all the actions that we do, either it has a positive effect in your life or it does not, right? But we get into these vices, we get into the vices of this action or that action. And for me to tell you, oh, you do this and then that's why you're fucked up or something like that, that never inspires people in any way.
Turn off. Yeah.
People
turn off when you tell them how to live.
Yeah, exactly. And so like I live my life the way I want to live. I'm not gonna like look down on anybody because they eat meat. I used to eat meat or whatever. So like it's not gonna be an inspiring thing. Like people should understand that what they're consuming, right? Whatever it is. And then if it's a benefit to them or they enjoy it, enjoy it. Like if you enjoy smoking cigarettes, enjoy it. Be mindful about the things that you consume. Be mindful of the steak that you're eating. Understand that it's coming from an animal who sacrifices life for it. So enjoy that process, but it's not going to be forever. And again, with any kind of tastes, right, including sex, because sex is a kind of taste, you can say, right? It's a kind of a pleasure, right? All those things have a limit. You cannot have sex forever. You cannot eat forever. You cannot smoke forever. There's a limitation to how far you can go with these things. But then don't get dependent on it. That's where the addiction. I mean,
Nachi, I got a question for you. My oldest nephew is like full on vegetarian, and I mean absolutely no meat, no animal products or anything. Calls himself the Veggie Lord or some shit. He is a good kid, but he says one of the problems with eating meat is most of the meat that we're consuming is meat that has been put through fucking terror, petrified. So we're eating animals that are scarred, their tissues scarred with fear, and that there's something wrong with consuming that's detrimental to our own existence.
Yes.
What do you know about that?
There's no happy way to kill them.
Adreno meat.
Sure, there is. You put on.
Well,
have you ever?
But they could have lived a happy life
by Simon and Garfunkel. It's impossible to be upset when Cecilia's on, or Celia. I'll drop the link. I won't play it.
It's entirely different. Come on, to take an elk out of nature that's lived an amazing life in its natural habitat, grazing off the natural grasses, and then reproducing and doing what it does, and then you're thinning that herd if you're doing it in stewardship anyway, just like the natives did with the bison, and that compared to like the conventional corporate fucking tasing the cattle after it's not seen the light of day and been fed a non-natural diet that's caused it to be inflamed and and pain, just pain, misery. That's quite different.
Just freedom grow. Eat a salad, and then you won't even have to like have any type of moral quandaries about it.
Except for all the small game that got poisoned in the process of growing that salad, that then caused the big game to have to suffer an agonizing, terrible death, and all the microbiology that was just destroyed in the process of eating that salad. Not to mention the fact that it's not going to be nutritious for me because it probably wasn't grown with any trace minerals in that soil, so it has no electrolyte qualities to actually benefit my health. So it's like, so I'm defeating myself while destroying the ecosystem and causing agonizing pain for other animals. Whereas I could have just
using lots of words,
healthfully,
words on top of words on top of words.
Dick, am I okay to eat my Captain Crunch?
All corroboratable fact that can be verified for anyone that wants to face the reality of their decisions that they make on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, but have you guys noticed that like since like 2020, there's been a lot of cases of like the meat that you buy from the grocery stores are magnetic.
Yeah, why would you buy meat from a grocery store? That's disgusting. I've not ate one even ounce of meat from a grocery store in years.
How old are you, Freedom Grower?
I'm in my mid-40s.
Old ass white
Y'all
guy.
don't even want to know what I eat.
What's wrong with being an old ass white guy? I mean, what's the white guy have to do with it?
Nothing, man. I run circles around you. Probably
you're racist. Colonializer.
I bet you couldn't handle one day of work with me. I'd sit here at 9,000 foot elevation with
I
you,
bet
and we'd grab 80-pound
yeah.
buckets of
Easily.
bison
I
rock
bet
and
I
put one in
could,
each of your
though.
hands. You'd start walking up the hill, and halfway up, you'd be like, "Yeah, I think I'll take."
And nobody, I can't work
My
into the
bones don't
ground,
have the
bro.
I'm
mineral
not used to
content
the
to work that
elevation, but I
hard,
got
Dick.
10
I
years
can't
on
keep
10
up with
years
you
and,
because I
and
don't
I'm
have an
probably in
actual
better
diet that
shape.
gives me minerals and nutrition.
50 years old, man, running circles around 30-year-olds all day.
Yeah, but 30
All
year
day.
like I'm 36, and I feel like even people my own age, like somewhere a few years older than me, is when dudes started being entitled little pussies, right?
Yeah,
so-
true.
Exactly, Flo. These young kids
Millennials
don't
got
have
a
any
bad
work
rap.
ethic. So
Yeah,
that's
no.
not a good comparison. You're comparing yourself to lazy kids that were raised in a screen that have no work ethic.
But I put myself in
Yeah, I
the
generally.
I'm comparing myself to your old ass.
To me,
Dick's gonna be out working people at 60.
you already told me about that drywall. He said,
What drywall?
He sometimes wants to do some work.
I ran 3-inch type L copper strapped to mounting it to walls in a basement, cutting it with pipe cutters. The two other guys called in sick for half the week because we're at 7,000.
Are we gonna flex on who's more productive and who's done more?
7,500 foot elevation, or where am I? Lake, whatever the lake is up there.
Let me just say this: if you're doing shit and accomplishing stuff outside of your metaversal life, and you have skills and you can solve problems and you can fabricate and make things, I'm impressed. That's enough for me.
Yeah.
Nice.
World is physical.
But who can make the most shit the fastest? That's what we're trying to reason our way.
Quality, not quantity.
We talking about
Like
peanut
fap.
butter
You don't have
jelly?
to fap every day, but every once in a while you might want to love yourself.
I mean, I worked with tools before. I worked as a traditional Korean housing, carpenter for about a year. So I, the work schedule when I was a carpenter was like we worked about 21 days straight, like no days off, and we would take 4 days off, and then we would go back and do like 20 days of like work straight. So we woke up at 6. It was like military. Like woke up 6 in the morning, started working at 7. We had breakfast, work at 7 till noon. We work for 5 hours and then have lunch, quick nap, 1 till like 6 or 7 we work, and then have dinner, and then just kind of like watch TV for a couple hours and go to bed. That was my life for about a year. I did bartending and shit, worked late nights, like serving drinks and stuff like that. I did all kinds of shit before.
You got your chi. Hey, Notch, you got your chi.
My chi. We all got our chi. Everybody's got their chi. But I mean, like, I think most of the people here.
And he is Korean, so it's pronounced ki, by the way.
Gi, actually, gi. Korean is.
Oh, is it
gi.
really? I thought it was ki.
Yeah, in Japanese is ki. In Japanese is ki. Yeah.
I know Korean yi is Y-I instead of Y-E-E, huh? Isn't it? Or no, Y-E-E.
Is that the warrior spirit?
No,
is that the spirit of war?
No, ki is just like prana. It's like prana became ki in China, and then it became gi in Korean, and then it became ki in Japanese. But it's like this like life force energy is what chi means.
Martial arts. Chi.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you need like
martial as in military arts.
Yeah, martial. Yeah, like that comes from Mars, right? Martial arts and such. But like it's you need the spiritual energy in order to be a good martial artist. You need the chi or the you need the chi to be able to develop your energy, which will be transformed into the movements
chi,
or your muscles.
As in a spirit of chi. Is that what you're learning up there in the Kung Fu shit?
Is it
redneck?
I'm not sure if that was a troll or not.
Every where I'm at, everybody's Chinese. Like I'm from the Bay Area.
You're in LA. Do you live in
no,
LA?
I'm in Reno, and it's like like that guy's. I'm like that guy's Filipino, dude. Like it's so far from China. Like yeah, Chinese. Like it's so funny, man.
What I'm trying to
It's
say
Asian.
is,
They're Asian. They all do kung fu. All right, all the Asians just do kung fu. Okay, or karate.
I think this 64-year-old take all you young punks' ass, unless Notch knows his martial chi shit. I don't know if
What, you think that Notch might be the one who's got some ninja skills? Just because that's a stereotype, sir. I'll have you know that.
That's pretty bad.
I'm being prejudiced.
Oh, but
that's
the poll.
He's
the way it
picturing
is.
Notch
Yeah,
doing
be
Marukins throwing fireballs and shit.
I studied
that-
with the Ninja Turtles.
The poll was way in favor. All right, I'm gonna start removing everybody. I just double clicked everybody. All right, I'm putting everybody back up. The poll was strongly in favor of. I think I got everybody back. The poll was everybody thinks M would beat me in a knife fight. It was like 77% her, 23% me, or something. And Moose is probably going to get punched in the face. Oh, wait. It's exactly 50-50 as to whether Chuck should when he meets Moose, whether he should shake his hand or punch him in the face. That's amazing. I want to end the poll right there. I'll be right back. I'm going to grab some cereal. I am going to start. We're approaching 12 hours, so I'm going to start. I did unpin the link. I'm going to start sort of whittling people away. No big rush now.
I'll say bye, buddy, man. I had a good ass time on here, dude. This is a really killer. Yeah, super fun, man. Super fun.
I mean, thank you. I gotta give props to the people who held it down while I slept. I basically,
yeah, for sure, man. I'll come talk to you again, man, if you have me on. Really
please do. And I will link you in the description box after the show, and I'm subscribed now. So thanks for coming up.
Thanks, guys. All right, everybody.
Cheers.
Good meeting you, Joe.
Okay.
Take care, man.
See you, buddy. Okay.
Yeah, I got to get out of here as well. Notch, great talking with you. Scott to be, Rocky, Barbie, pleasure to meet you. Flo, thanks for having me up. And Moose, I'm with you, man. I'll take a good smack in the face any day over being physically mounted by another man. That sounds terrible and terrorizing. Have a great day, folks.
Yes, you too.
That's my mom, and in case you're wondering, that's my mom and dad in the background.
Okay.
I like that. I like those old times.
And so
I wasn't necessarily wrapping up. I mean, people are free to come and go. I was just kind of giving the 45-minute warning or less, but I'm gonna go get a bowl of cereal.
My family came over
you can't though. You can't leave. You have to be the last one to leave though, because I don't know why. Should change the title into from off of horse face to your stream.
Later on, just wanted to say goodbye.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for coming up.
People are still hanging.
And oh yeah, okay, never mind. I couldn't remember if I told him not or to leave a comment backstage or not. Scott, I see you came back up. I don't know why you came back up. I didn't drop you off earlier, but I am shutting down.
I put my phone on mute and stuff, and actually hit the wrong button.
Okay. Well, you may not have meant to drop out, but I'm gonna take it. So, you want to do a final thought?
Yeah. Final thought is
actually, you know what, you guys, I'm gonna go get some cereal real quick. I'll be right back. You guys can just chill for a second or do whatever you want.
Fair enough. Sing to me, Nachi.
Not a very good singer.
Yeah, you were at a wedding tonight?
Yeah, my landlord's son got married. His eldest son got married. So today's the last day. They did a 3-day wedding.
Oh yeah, I saw you there the other night.
Yeah.
You were at the same thing walking through.
Same place. When I was over at Z's, I showed a little bit of the place I was at. So you must have been over there. At
exactly.
Warriors channel.
Exactly. That was interesting. See something you're not used to seeing.
Yeah, it's very different. Most people are related to each other in this area. I mean, they're like uncles and aunts and cousins of all like each other.
Do you work there? Do you have a job?
No, unfortunately not. I haven't really had an official job for a while. I'm living off my savings. I made some money, like, doing different type of stuff before. So, but my
No, that's
lifestyle is
good.
quite cheap. So,
Right. Sure.
yeah.
I just wondered what kind of work you might do, or what did you do in the past?
I did a variety of different jobs. Like I taught English initially when I came to Korea, when I finished university. So I taught English for a little while at a private school, and then I did bartending for about a year and a half. So I did that, and then I did the carpentry work for about a year. And then afterwards, I worked for a corporation at a publishing company for about 3 years, doing like translation work, English, like material editing, stuff like that, wearing suit and tie, working at a cubicle. And then
So
I
English,
decided to leave Korea back. What's that?
English was your first language, though, right? Was English
I
your
can't
first
hear you.
language? Was English your first language?
Yeah, English is my first language now, but it used to be Korean because I was born in Korea, and then I spoke English, and then or Korean, and then when I came to America, I had to learn English when I was about 10, 11 years old.
Okay, so English is your second language, so that's how you're fluent in both.
No, I don't know. I mean, like I would say I'm intermediate in Korean. That would be my second best language.
Oh, okay,
And
okay.
then, I just know a little bit of some other languages. Yeah.
I see, I see. So are you going to come back to the States at some point, or is your plan to stay where you're at?
I don't know. Like with all the stuff that's going on, I'm not entirely sure how things are going to pan out. I like being here, but something might like force me to go somewhere else. So it's very dependent on like circumstances and opportunities. So I'm kind of keeping things open. I'm not very good at planning. Like whatever I planned in the past never really worked out the way I had intended. So I'm just kind of going with the flow, you can say.
Right, right. But I saw you walk around your hut the other day, and it looked like you had, well, I don't know what they call that, the wood that's set up for martial arts for practicing and whatnot. What do you call that post thing?
It's a Wing Chun dummy with the two
Yeah.
arms,
Right.
and then another one coming out of the navel. It's called a Wing.
That's cool. That's super cool. What happened to the Wi-Fi?
Nachi disappeared. It's,
I
that side of the
know.
globe. The satellite moved a little bit, probably. But that's actually cool. What I was going to tell him, I don't know if you know what, that's a martial arts training thing where they, like Bruce Lee type stuff. And Nachi, I believe, is, older than Flow State, possibly, even into his 40s, potentially.
Yeah, my dad
Nachi,
was
how old
trained
are
in
you?
mixed
Aren't you
martial
over
arts.
40?
I'm 45, sir. I'll be
Yeah.
turning 45 in December, so I'm 44, almost 45.
December what?
December 12th.
Hey, that's the
12,
day
12.
after me.
Yeah, we
Your
talked
birthday's
about
in
this.
December?
12/11 and 12/12.
Mine's 12/6.
Yep.
So,
I think
Flow
my
State, you
birthday's
got a month till your birthday.
Correct.
And you'll be 37?
Correct.
Any plans for your birthday yet?
Nope. I forget about my birthday. I just, after 21, what do you have to look forward to? And even 21 was like, I had a fake ID when I was 15. 21 was not that big a deal either.
I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you.
There was nothing that I wasn't doing at 15 that I was doing it at 15, I'd do it at 21. It didn't matter. That 21 wasn't that significant. Neither was 18. I was already doing everything I wanted to do before then. Like as far as like what you're supposed to wait till you're an adult to do. That's why I'm a 37-year-old grandma.
I just turned you up because your mic is a little bit softer. It's interesting trying to manage the volume on panels because you're quieter, and Scott, I have to turn Scott down to like 10, and he still can be the loudest one in the room, especially if he's invigorated.
Normally, I'm pretty loud. It's early. Well, it was earlier that I was adjusting to trying to be quiet because other people were sleeping, but they're in the whole nother level of the house. Which I'm really struggling with not reacting to people lately. I'm working on that.
Man, who are you? Who? I think I know who.
Just people in general. That one too. Made a whole ass video last night talking about I'm obsessed with him. I'm like, so then why did you sit there, creep up in the live stream? This is what I'm thinking to myself. So you come over there, creep in the live stream, get caught when you start chatting. But I'm obsessed. How many shorts do I have about you, simple bitch? Exactly. So what the fuck are you talking about? But it's like, no, Emma, don't say nothing because that just makes him feel like you do care. I'm like, but then he's making it out like I do when I don't care. I think it's a Canadian thing.
Canadians are on some other shit.
They are. Every time there's a thing that I have a disagreement with another human being that I literally cannot sort out for some reason, it always comes back to that motherfucker's Canadian. That's why I can't figure this shit out. I can get along with people all over the world. Canadians can't do it.
They just don't think the same. Is that it?
They're polite, but not. But it like, I don't know.
But it's not. It's like passive aggressive kind of.
Yeah. Yes.
Where are you located, Barbie? Like which region? Are you like more in the south?
I'm in the southeast United States.
Okay.
I'm not too far from Caucasian
Because I think
Sasquatch, actually.
okay, because I think I'm from Wisconsin, and I feel like people from like the Midwest, especially in the North, like Minnesota, they're very similar to Canadians in the way they speak, and we say like, oh, and like we have like a very like friendly, aspect of ourselves, but we're like not friendly at all. We're very, we're very distant.
Yeah.
We
don't know how to take y'all.
I can totally see some Canadian influence in you, Notch, now that you call it out.
When he said Minnesota, I was like, oh,
I know, but that's
damn.
like, yeah, some Canadian influence. He's not full Canadian, but I can see his inclination towards like veiled conflict.
Diplomacy, politeness, these are all like very,
like when you steel man somebody's point, sometimes it's passive aggressive. So you're saying is, you're not sure if they're like actually trying to understand what you're saying, or if they're like, what's going on here with that?
Well, I mean, you can't take away the cultural influence of me growing up in Wisconsin. I mean, that's, my language or the way in which I speak is like baked into the cake of how I express myself, right?
Are you a Packers fan?
You have to be if you grow up in Wisconsin. You can't be otherwise. You can't be otherwise. It's the biggest religion. It's religion in Wisconsin. If you're not a Packers fan, no, unfortunately not. I'd never had a cheese head, but obviously everybody else did.
Wisconsin called. They want their card back. Straight up revoked.
I mean, I stuck out like a sore thumb in Wisconsin, but I'm so glad I grew up in Wisconsin. Like we drank a lot, we drink more alcohol per capita than anybody else, and we had good food, good cheese, obviously cheddar cheese, and this kind of German cultural background, German and Polish, a
Poutine
lot of
is a thing up
brats,
there.
stuff like that.
Yeah, poutine.
Poutine, no. It's
No,
no,
no.
not in
That's
Wisconsin. It's
Canada.
not. No,
I know it's a Canadian thing, but I figured it would be more like in his area too,
Doesn't
especially
cross
the
the
cheese
no,
border
and the.
really. It's
I'm not a
fine.
big
Yeah,
fan of
you
it
find
though.
it at certain
no.
restaurants.
I didn't even know what poutine was until I was in Korea meeting Canadians who had to tell me what a poutine is. Like we
That's
never
how I
had
heard
it
about it.
in Wisconsin. Like
Yeah,
it's not a thing in Wisconsin.
they
It's like
tried to
beer,
do it
brat.
down here and it didn't work.
I
Don't
think
work.
it's Canadians' version of shit on a shingle.
It's not even that, because where I live in Western North Carolina, there is like a bunch of different types of restaurants that you can eat at, and that means extremely diverse. But when they brought Bad Happy here and tried to do the poutine thing, like, nah, we do biscuits and gravy, biscuit and gravy. I don't know what you doing with them
Yeah.
fries, but we was like, what are they doing? No. But then Taco Bell
Must
can come
be.
down here and put potatoes in their tacos, and we're cool with that. Like,
What?
dead
I
ass.
personally really like Southern like hospitality, their accent, their warmness, they're very direct people down south, like when you get to the north, people get passive aggressive quite more,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there's like there's a little bit of a distance.
Bless your
Mhm.
heart.
But
Yeah, I
That
say
kind of
bless it
warmness.
a lot. Yeah, yeah.
Because
Barbie, I'm
Like,
still trying to
honey,
figure out if you. Excuse me. Did you say potatoes in your tacos?
yes, sir. That's what I said. Potatoes
Who else?
in the
I've never
tacos.
even heard of that in a burrito.
I know I've heard of it, but it's
You
not
can get it in soft shell or hard shell, but they put
at
potatoes.
Taco
They're called
Bell.
little, yes, the potato. Yeah, at Taco Bell. The nacho
They
fries
have it at
though.
Taco Bell.
Yeah, they do. It's like one of the dollar items or whatever. It's a
I
spicy
did.
potato burrito. It's pretty good. But aside before that, I had never heard of potatoes in a burrito.
The fuck.
I love anything
Maybe I've
potato.
been hibernating. My apologies.
Except poutine. Don't do that. Don't.
I don't know
I
what
don't pour
poutine
gravy on
is.
my
I
potato.
feel like you're trying to say
It's
poontang,
it's
which is something I
potatoes
eat.
with country style gravy, like that you put over your biscuits. But they put that shit over their fries with cheese.
yeah, they love that.
They fuck the gravy up.
I mean, it's a drunk food. I mean, like you anything
Yeah,
greasy is pretty good.
yeah.
After a hangover, and then you're like, oh man, I need to order me some anything
Like
greasy.
I would order chili cheese fries. That's what we would do in the South. It would be chili cheese fries.
Yeah, that's just good.
Yeah,
I love what is that, like a chili, like bowl of chili, like vegetarian bowl of
with
chili
some
with
cornbread.
beans, spicy. Oh man,
I don't
that
like
stuff's good.
cornbread anymore. Jail ruined cornbread for me.
I
You know how
like
much
chili
fucking
Yeah, that's
cornbread
cheese
they
and
fed us?
hey.
onions.
They fed us so much cornbread.
Yeah, that's a fucking cornbread sucks.
Honey, I live in Western North Carolina. Like, I love me some pinto beans and cornbread. Like, are you kidding? Oh my God. They've been slow cooking in the damn crock pot all day with some fat back. Oh, shit. Oh my God. For real. And I don't even care. Yeah, in a couple hours, I will run you out of the room for it, and I don't give a crap. Give me the beans and cornbread. Especially when my mama makes it. Oh my God, I'm about to call my mom. I know what I want for my birthday dinner.
Hey, you'll get into cornbread again if you get some, warm cornbread with some nice good butter and some honey.
Yeah. I don't do buttermilk. What is that about? Like,
I don't
I never
know.
understood that.
Because buttermilk is disgusting by itself.
Pretty much.
Oh,
Except
yeah,
in
why would
pancakes.
What is it?
buttermilk?
Buttermilk pancakes.
Buttermilk.
It's buttermilk. It's like buttery milk. Yeah, bro. I don't know what it's used for. I just remember it was way more common when I was younger than like cooking. Oh, people would use buttermilk for certain things instead of like regular milk. and I know people that would drink buttermilk with their cornbread, but I did not. I drank it one time and that was it.
I can't
Like
drink milk. I'm lactose intolerant,
Mm.
so it just like it gives me the runs. So I can consume cheese and like some cheese products, but if I have too much of it, then it's going to be a bad day for me. So
It's like that heavy amount of lactose that's in like whole milk. You could probably drink
yeah.
2%. I love
When I
whole
was
milk
growing
though.
up, like we mostly had like skim milk at home. Like we always had just skim milk. We I don't think we ever had 2% milk at home, and I rarely just drank it like straight, anyways. So
Can you drink
we
straight
always
from
had
a
cheese.
cow? I mean,
No,
not pasteurized, not lactose and lactose is sugar, basically. So can you have farm fresh
Hmm.
milk without the fucking processing?
no,
No,
no.
it has to be homogenized.
Yeah.
I mean, I
It just
suppose you
is.
could drink it, but it would not be good. You would run the risk
There's
of
a
Yeah.
getting
way
really
without
sick.
pasteurizing, is what I'm saying, without adding the lactose to it.
I don't
They
think
have
so.
cows here. I could get milk. It's like straight from a cow, like 150 meters away from me if I wanted to. I never bothered to ask. Like they offered me like, hey, do you want some milk? I'm like, no, I don't drink milk. Like period. I just keep some cheese at home and paneer. Like this is cottage cheese, like Indian
Mhm.
version of cottage cheese every once in a while, but like rarely I consume like dairy products. Like not very
You ought to
often.
see if the real
Like
milk
ghee.
would bother you.
It would probably. I think it would. It would
It's
probably
not
fuck
got
me up.
Yeah,
lactose, would it? Have lactose though?
yeah, yeah.
Cottage cheese is the
Lactose
only
And
is
food
milk.
that's the texture of throw up. I don't know why anybody would ever make cottage cheese or buy cottage cheese.
It's just for protein. It doesn't really have like a lot of flavor, but it's a way to consume protein.
It's good protein.
For me.
You know what else is? Animals.
hmm
Flow State.
Yeah, I know.
I went out to Newport Beach, California, for a week with Julian Whitaker, Dr. Julian Whitaker, who's a holistic doctor. I mean, very famous for years. And that's one of the things that he had me change, was using sour cream on potatoes to using cottage cheese on potatoes, because then you lower your calories, lower the fat, and up the protein intake.
Sour cream is also only to be
I
used
love sour
sparingly.
cream. Yeah.
Like, there's nothing grosser than I worked at Applebee's for a semester in college, hated it. But
That'll
the
ruin it.
worst part was like going into the walk-in and getting out those huge vats of sour cream and popping the lid on that motherfucker and just smelling.
Oh man, but it's great on tacos.
So, and maybe, I mean, it's tolerable in tacos if there's only a little bit. And it depends on what sour cream too. I don't like the thick tub shit. But like Chipotle has that real thin sour cream that's almost like milk. That shit's fine. I like that.
Yeah, there's like a Mexican sour cream that I use that's that way. I like it better.
Mayo's good in small quantities.
It was like popular like after Pulp Fiction, after like the guy went to France and had like like the quarter pounder with cheese, and then they put mayo on everything. Everyone's like, oh, we got to put mayo on our fries now because we got to try that shit. I remember that in high school and university. It's like, we're gonna be cool and put some fucking mayo. We're gonna be like the French,
I feel like mayo is like an incomplete condiment, right? Like spicy mayo. If you mix it with sriracha, it's good. If you have Chipotle mayonnaise, that's good. But just like the base white blob is not really for me.
It's like egg white and lemon, right? It's basically egg white and lemon.
It's like a heading cum.
Oh, that's
That's
so
why I don't get people that
disgusting.
eat coleslaw. Like, ugh, what? Ooh, ugh, ugh, ugh. Nope, I'm good.
I don't know if I would equate that to that degree, but anyways.
I almost just ended the stream right after that because
Yeah, on that gold.
That is a solid way
Oh
to end
boy.
it, huh?
All right. Well, good job, Flo. You know, you made it all the way. Is this your longest stream?
I
He's
think
on the
so.
phone.
I think he said he took one
Nachi,
before this. Like
you ever
20 minutes
watch
ago.
Swamp People?
Yep. No. What is it? I don't
These
watch
guys that
TV.
like live on the swamp down in Louisiana near Homa and whatnot, and in the bayou, and they hunt alligators and whatnot. But they bait them with different things. And this morning I was watching a show, actually listening to it, and I heard the guy say they were using goat lung to attract the alligator. I'm
Okay.
like, oh my god! But it seemed to work. They caught them a couple big ones. I'm like,
Well, I mean,
holy
if it's meat, I mean, why not? And goat lungs doesn't seem like something that people want to really consume anyway. So it's going to be a byproduct of having goat,
sure,
right? So
sure.
like it would make sense that they would use that for hunting alligators. I mean, any kind of meat would be okay to hunt alligators.
Have
I
you
heard
ever
alligator meat is very similar to what?
Have you ever seen an alligator hunt?
on that show.
Not in real life. No, I have never seen that show. I don't watch TV.
Yeah, if you ever get a chance, just watch it because these guys are going after big old dinosaurs and nothing but a John boat.
It's cool. It looks fun. It's one of my bucket list things. Is I want to like hunt alligators.
I'd like to go with like RJ and J Paul on a friggin' airboat. Like that'd be just a little slippery deck. I'll watch them do it. I don't want to do it, but it's exhilarating.
Yeah.
Oh,
No
that's
question.
bad, man.
Yeah, I'd rather get like killed by a tiger if any animal I have to choose, like a tiger or a lion, because they go like directly to your throat, so you're gonna pass out. But like a grizzly bear or would be not my choice, and alligator would not be one of the choices either, because like I think they will twist you up first, so they'll like take a grab of you, and then they'll like rip your legs off, and then a couple of them will come and they'll just like rip you apart. And I think
Ear-
you might still be alive for that whole duration. That would kind of
Earlier
suck.
this earlier this year, they had a telephone pole camera that caught an old lady, 82, 83 years old, walking her dog along the fucking creek
I
at a
saw that.
trailer park. Did you see
I
it?
saw that. Yeah, the
Holy
alligator
fuck.
just came up and grabbed them.
Oh my God. I turned it off. I didn't see what happened. Did the dog get away or he went down too?
I think the dog was on a leash with the lady,
Yeah.
and I think the dog got dragged in with her. But I didn't see what happened afterwards. Like I didn't see the aftermath.
Yeah, that was just I seen that gator come on shore and I'm like, I don't need to see this. My mom here at the house at the time, I'm like, this is and actually it was tough. I
Yeah,
couldn't even believe it. You imagine that because I see alligators frequently. So
yeah. I mean, every year, I think in Florida, people die from alligators. Is it not like at least several?
a
Right? There are
couple, but
cases all the
your
time.
animals are the main prey. I mean, you walk you walk your little dog or anything, your kid even down near the shore of a fucking lake or something that has an alligator, even a pond that an alligator's skipping through. You're asking for trouble because that's what they're looking for is small birds and small animals getting water along the shore.
Yeah.
So you're just you're a target at that point. Stay away and you're better off. But yeah, every year somebody's going to get stupid, and the same thing with sharks around Florida too. Every year, a couple people are going to get messed up by a shark, either clipped doing their skimboard and bullshit. But they're usually little, they're smaller sharks. You don't have up north. I've heard of bigger shark attacks this year than I had around here. So actually, out on the West Coast, there was one too. Out towards California, I remember reading about. Oh my
It's a
God, that
wild world, you know. I saw a tiger out in nature. I was driving my motorbike in a national park in Nepal, and you know, like in India and Nepal, it's very normal to see cows like sitting out in the middle of the highway, you know, like middle of the street, like or just they're just plopped down. They and you just expect it. Like you just see them from miles away, and you just like, okay, I got to avoid this fucking cow. And then from a distance, I saw an animal that was like a size, like it was huge. Actually, it was like a huge ass tiger, but I didn't realize it was a tiger until I got like near to it. I had to slow down. If I kept going, I could have hit it. And I slowed down, and I realized it was a fucking tiger. I was like, "Fuck this! I'm not stopping for this. I'm not gonna stop and try to take pictures of this thing because I don't know what it's gonna do." So I just kept driving, and then it saw me, and then it skirted into the woods. But it was huge. I would
dude,
not
they're
want to mess
right in
around.
this house, right where I'm sitting, right behind me, the wall that's behind me, going behind me, and then out towards the golf course here. A flash went by me when I walked out about 12:30, 1 o'clock at night, and I wasn't sure what it was. And not 2/10 of a second after that, a Florida panther went whizzing by me, chasing whatever it was. And I saw that panther. I was like, and that's the only time I've seen him in captivity, actually, a couple times because I used to be involved with this thing on Old McDonald's farm at the state fair where they'd bring him in. But in wild, fucking 20 yards from me, if that, flying by. I was like, holy shit, in a lit area. I mean, the street lights and shit. This guy went across the street, right up the side of the house, out towards the golf course. Again, I was dark after that. I couldn't tell where he went, and I didn't actually try and see. But I never heard anything. So as far as I know, whatever he was chasing may have got away.
Yeah,
Fuck,
when I
that
was
was
living
cool.
in Nepal, I lived near a national park just on the base of this mountain called Shivapuri. And Shivapuri is a big national park. It's protected. And there are tigers and bears that live there. And the village that I was living at, like like almost every year, a couple dogs go missing because people keep dogs around for like, you know, they're not pets. They're just kind of like, you know, like alarms
Food.
for the home. And and you know, like the tiger would come down, and then you just have like a piece of leg left behind, you know. So but they don't really go after people. Like there are not like hardly any cases, but like here where I'm living at, there are black bears, but like they're not dangerous. They're not like grizzlies. Black bears are quite, you know, they mind their own business. So they come around my region. They eat apples. You know, they go after other animals, but like people don't really encounter them. And then you have the what are they? The Himalayan jaguars, right? And those things can be dangerous if you encounter them. They're not huge. They're not like a puma size, but they're big enough to fuck you up. Yeah, like if you encounter one, they will mess you up. You know, like they're they're big enough to take you down. You know, they're not to be messed around with.
Yeah, the fucking cats, they're dangerous. Up in the up north of Michigan, in the UP, which is up above Wisconsin, where you from, or lived. My family has some property up there, and I mean they've got some wolves now and some bear that are causing problems, and they can't bring their dogs out, or they got to be careful if they do, even around the house. But now I just saw something where Biden's planning on bringing and stocking more grizzly up in some of these northern states and cutting down on hunting, I think is what I heard. I'm not real sure what I heard, but
final thoughts, Scott. Roll it into your final thoughts, please.
well, it's just kind of a crazy thing, and we need more fiat currency to stop Biden, I guess. Now,
More fiat.
final thoughts, Flow State. Good stream, evidently. If it is one of your longest, you might as well go for the 12-hour stream. You got 18 minutes.
It's definitely my longest. And I mean, I don't. I feel weird taking credit for it because, like, I mean, I slept most of it. Yeah.
Sure, but it is your platform. You're
But yeah, I'm gonna close up, and I'm not gonna take the whole panel to the 12 minutes. I typically have, final thoughts, and then I normally, for whatever reason.
Well, I will take off. I got plenty of shit to do. I want to say thank you for having me up. It was interesting conversations, both before I got on, when I got on, and I'm sure to come. So keep going, Flo.
Appreciate you. Thank you, Scott. Have a good one.
All right, I'll go. Thanks for having me on. Good talking with you, Em. You were you were the MVP of tonight. Really, you came here from the beginning, and then you stuck with it all the way through. So I came for a little while, and then I had to do my thing, and I was surprised. And then again, I was able to come back on. Great conversations tonight. Hit on a lot of really interesting topics. And like very good energy for the most part. I can't say for the whole stream, but for the most part, it was pretty good. But yeah, I really enjoy this type of that's why I keep on coming back here, because I think Flo is doing a fantastic job of actually moderating these his own channel. Like he has a good balance of like listening, chiming in, but also like not allowing other chaotic energy to be a part of this process though too. So he's very vigilant about that, even though when he was sleeping, obviously he can't take credit for that, but like we know his energy, we know what people are about, and I'm very much for that. And in that kind of environment, you're gonna be able to have very good, productive conversations where people are going to be able to like really, iron out their differences and get to really nitty gritty of different topics. So anyway, good being here, and you have a good night. Get some sleep in, and talk to you later.
Hey, thanks for coming up and always contributing.
Yep. Take it easy. Bye.
Later. Bye. And Steve, I think that I take that as quite the compliment, because I've been admiring last night specifically, because I've tried the last night on Steve's channel, him, Toilet Bowl Earth, EBT, me, Snafu Snaps, even Jack Talcott. Like he got a whole group of people talking about God and religion that I've never seen that like TBE and I have never been able to have a conversation at all about that. I've never seen Snafu Snaps have any length of a conversation with anybody. So I thought that last night was pretty amazing hosting skill myself.
It's a very, very touchy subject to navigate around, especially when you have such a diverse group of people with very, very different viewpoints on that. So, yeah.
Well,
I was pretty impressed with that myself.
And you don't know a lot of the names that I was just referring to, probably, but like, some of them are just.
I think Jack, maybe. Yeah, I've never heard of him. I was about to write that down.
Snaps, you probably recognize. He's been around, but like Toilet Bowl Earth specifically is somebody I've never been able to discuss religion with, just because he's a douchebag. But he's also
he's like doesn't.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. It makes it. They're. I feel like they're the hardest ones, and that I don't mean any offense by that at all, but they are some of the hardest people to have that conversation with about just any on any level. Because that Bible comes out so fast.
And he's a I don't know much about his personal life, but he's angry, right? He's just an angry. You can hear it in the tone of his voice, right? Some people speak and they're just kind of, their words are dripping with some like sort of seethy energy. He's that, but he's also
why are you so mad?
Christian. So it's just this weird juxtaposition of like, well, how can you be so hateful though, and be so
like you're cramming God down my throat and simultaneously like giving me the biz. I don't. Right. You're telling so like confuse me for not knowing how to respond. Like, are you mad at me, or do you want me to get on board with your plan? Because I don't really know what to do. That's how I feel around most people that are Christian.
Well, it came up last night on Steve's stream about like just addressing different things, right? Like something that's considered sin. And my whole thing, the example was was homosexuality, right? And I think that to me, it's fairly obvious that if you're a Christian and you follow the Bible, like within Christianity or within the Bible, it's considered an abomination. That said, nowhere does that translate into, as far as I'm concerned, of course, I'm not Christian, but it doesn't seem at all like at any point in the Bible does it say it's an abomination. Therefore, you need to go harass these fucking people, right?
Right. Right. It nowhere does it say that.
Right.
Literally, it does not say that. And to me, I always thought it was weird growing up in church when sexuality in general would get brought up, because I was always like, I can understand the church wanting to be involved in some aspects of your life, but that one I feel like was off. It was just off limits. It should just be off limits. I've always felt that way.
If you're like clergy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's against the Bible, I can see how that might be your role if people are asking you that, right? But what doesn't make any sense, and which I actually don't believe, because a lot of the Christians on panel were saying like it's an abomination in God's eyes, and then the inference was that therefore we can talk, or well, not the inference. They explicitly said like, well, we still love gay people, but that means that the best way to love them is to not let them sin. It's like, wait, so you go and you just like, they know,
flog them over,
right, yeah. You going and being a douchebag to them is not helping save anybody, not at all. So you have to look at what are the results of this behavior, and then you can back build into the incentive. And I think that I'm not going to name anyone specific, but I think that the incentive usually is just to be a douchebag and to hide it behind the color of religion.
Yeah. Because they're uncomfortable with whatever part of that in their own skin. So they use that as a mask. Which again, I guess for some people sexuality is just another part of life, and it's just another thing they can use to judge people. And for me, just the way I am, it's such a weird thing to talk about with people that are trying to talk to you about religion. I'm like, hold up, we should not be doing this at the same time. Like, we're either going to talk about religion or we're going to talk about sex. But if you come and talk to me about religion initially, first and foremost, then we're not going to have a conversation that's sexual in nature, because we were just having a religious talk. That's so bizarre to me. Like,
I mean, I
know that the two are correlated, but
if religion is, God's over everything, presumably, right? So like sex would be within the scope of religion, just like everything else in existence would be in that degree. But yeah, I mean, to think that by shit talking gay people, you're going to save their soul, you're going to help save anybody's soul. You're not going to do anything except for live in your own hate and drive people away from the religion that you claim to be wanting to help. Speak of the devil. No, you don't accost gay people. You're not stabbing them with pitchforks, sure.
Yeah.
And I'm against the wholesale. And so that's part of the interesting. It's a nuanced conversation. And I'm very much against the wholesale, the cultural push for it with kids. I'm against that being pushed at kids at all. Really, there's no reason to push any sexuality at kids. But when you say things like, absolutely not, absolutely no gay people should be allowed to adopt kids ever, which is literally verbatim what you were saying. That's fairly hostile. And I also would say that it's not even, I understand the concern. I don't think, though, that I think that you have to say that kids are definitely much worse off living in an institution where they have really no parents. They have employees, they have staff. So we got to look at the options. Like the war on drugs isn't about do we have drugs or not have drugs. It's about, do we have drug use without prisoners, or do we have drug use with more prisoners? Likewise, this debate isn't like, do we put them in straight families or gay families? It's like, do we put them in gay families or in group homes, right? Because obviously there's not enough straight couples to adopt, or else there wouldn't be so many kids in group homes.
I personally, I've had people try to explain to me why they feel like gay people should not be allowed to adopt or whatever. I don't agree with that. Again, I feel like whether they're two men or two women, I feel like two people, period, are fully capable of making good parents, as long as there's certain things that they adhere to and do as a parent. But who are we to say that any one person shouldn't be able to raise a kid because of their sexuality? Those are two different things. Like raising a child and then your sexual preference are two totally different things. And you can be gay around the kid. It doesn't mean that the kid's going to grow up gay. It literally probably is not really going to factor in that much, because most people, I think they're gay, will tell you they were born that way. They've known that their whole last life. I
don't actually think that I know enough about what makes somebody gay or not. There's, of course, the born this way claim, but I also, anecdotally, I believe, my understanding is that a lot of gay men, at least, had SA in their past. And so I really don't know that I know enough to understand whether this is like a trauma response, or how much is nature versus how much is trauma response to nurture. I don't know the answer to that, really. And I don't think most people do, because it's such a taboo area to dig into that I don't pretend to know the answer to that. Yeah, it is really a hard thing to get into, because then you have to get in the scope of asking children again about certain things. It's like kids are going to figure out sexuality on their own. We did that before the age of the internet was readily available to younger ages. So I don't think certain things really factor that much into whether someone is homosexual or not, so much as I really do think that there's a genetic marker that probably factors in more than anything, and then environmental stuff maybe. This is from my own personal experience. Right. And I would agree with this, though, that I think that ideally children would have male and female. There's a balance there that happens. What do you think?
Okay. What if the dad was really super feminine and the mom was really super masculine, but they're a totally heterosexual couple?
There's not that. I mean, there isn't that. Just biologically, we've only got like 2.5 minutes, so I'm trying to rush this. In like personality typing, for instance, I'm into the typology stuff. The thinking feeling dynamic, that is so extreme between the two sexes that the most thinking woman is still less thinking than the least thinking man. So the most feminine man on earth is never going to be a mom. Would be my response to that. You just can't blur people. Like, it just doesn't work. Final thoughts. We got to go before we hit the 12-hour.
No, I'm good.
You are a beast. Awesome. Actually, you know what? Hold on. I'm going to dip out. Then you can have the last final thoughts. Thanks for watching, everybody. Like, subscribe, comment, share if you haven't done the things. I appreciate Chuck, Steve, donations, new members, audios, and you have the final say.
Okay, guys, if you enjoy conversations like the one that you heard, or parts of whatever you heard over the last 12 hours, then I strongly suggest that you go to the description and check out all the links. And if you really want to be boss, then you can come and try to beat me at hanging out and holding it down this long. But I doubt you can. So